Welcome back, friends. Here we are yet again for another recap of another great night in Sequester, I would say. I think last night, I mean, we've been blessed recently with a lot of really good minis, but last night was very, very fun to watch. Great cast, a lot of drama, and we'll go through it all today. So we saw some new faces, some new characters, some familiar faces, a BB Can player. We really had it all. We'll go through all the rounds. Let's not waste any time. Let's start bringing in our guests and introducing them to everyone. First off, we have our winner, Anthony. Hello. Congratulations.
Hello. Thank you so much. Super excited to be here.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How was your winning night? How did you feel afterwards?
Oh my God. I was on like this high for so long. I could not sleep till like, it was like 6 a.m. was when I actually went to bed. I just couldn't stop like watching the videos and looking through everything.
I always say nobody ever sleeps after their first mini. It's impossible. Let's bring in our runner-up, Emily. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. We have Lance here. Hi, Lance.
Hey. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bring in Bryce. Bryce,
What's
hello.
up, guys? How's it going?
Wonderful. And then we also have Angelica as well. Hi, Angelica. Good morning.
It's been a rough morning.
You're here, though. You made it. That's all that matters. You persevered. And we have some more people, too, that we will be popping in as we go on and as we discuss the rounds. I guess first things first, tell us. Well, one thing I want to ask about Angelica and Bryce, I knew, obviously, that you two had played before and both gotten second place. Was anyone else aware in the game that you two had played before? And we can just...
Lance said he was.
Someone else mentioned, Mary mentioned that she knew I'd played.
Yeah, I definitely knew that both of them had made it far. But like for me, I go into every situation like, fresh face. Like just because someone played, like even with Anil being in Canada and people were worried about that, at the end of the day, you have to take that out of effect because those people that made it far could benefit you in the game or they could be your worst enemy. So, it just all depends.
I very much like that clean slate mentality.
Yeah, everybody should go in with that. So what were we thinking going into the game? Did we have strategies? Did we have ideas of how we were going to play this time around? What was the thought process there?
I know for me, I was not going to sit at the end and lose again. I was not going to play quiet, even if it meant going out early. I wasn't willing to. I wasn't willing to play the way I played before.
I had the same mentality, and I kind of thought that I would either go really early or make it pretty far because I didn't know if I would be targeted for having played. It was like a month ago, and I figured at least half the people wouldn't know who I was. I felt like if I could get just my foot in the door, I'd have a pretty good chance. But basically my strategy was just play hard as well because I was not playing for second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of minis, but I actually never seen Angelica or Bryce in their minis, so I never knew they played before. And I also didn't watch Big Brother Canada, so I didn't know Anil had ever played, that before. But that wasn't Sequester, so I actually just thought that was kind of cool, but that made him a target.
Yeah. And I'm guilty of the one, like I literally was in the room with the people and I'm like, hey guys, just to let y'all know, Anil played Big Brother Can. And then someone said, well, are you targeting him? And I'm like, no, I'm not targeting him for that. I'm just saying that's just something maybe y'all need to know for y'all knowledge. Because me personally, I wanted to work with him. So it's just kind of was like, I trusted some people. Let me throw that little bug in the air around one and see where it got. And it honestly wasn't the best.
Yeah. Because round 2, I got tethered to him and I was like, no way that I'm paired with basically the most visible person that's in this game right now.
So who was it that played the LOS that round? Was it Sergio?
It was himself.
Anil played both of them.
Anil played it?
Yeah, he played himself.
He got some fast fingers and some fast internet. I tried so hard to get an LOS.
Yeah. I saw all of them and didn't get any of them.
I got all the rest of them.
Yeah.
I didn't have a second monitor set up, so I would have to switch back and forth. It didn't work out.
It was definitely interesting, Lance, how, because at first I thought, was this a roundabout way of targeting Anil, just because how you were the one to put it out there that he had played before and then immediately go back to him and let him know that people know you've played before.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was, I was glad to see him last past that initial, wave of people going after him, just because I feel like it's a fun time if somebody who's played, one of those games comes on to Sequester and you're able to play with them. And if they get booted immediately, no one's ever going to want to do that,
Yeah, and my thought process behind like throwing it out and then immediately going to him was like to earn traction. Like, oh, this guy is telling me this. Like, maybe that'll earn me some favor with him moving forward. And I honestly thought it did for a good while, because I think it did. Like, he felt he could trust me, because anytime his name would come up, I'll let him know. And he was like, well, you're the first person to bring up that people's throwing my name out, not knowing that I was the one actually like brought it to Florisha. So, it was kind of a mixed bag, but I love it.
Yeah. I also recognized him. I couldn't quite place it, but I knew he was like from one of the shows. I couldn't place the season, but I'm actually kind of curious how that impacted his play in the early rounds, because I didn't vote for him any of the times that his name was going around, because I kept ending up in rooms with him, and he seemed like genuinely scared of being voted out, and I was trying to use that to my advantage of like, hey, listen, like I'll let you know if I hear your name. I'm not going to vote for you, and I didn't, and I think that helped me get through at least the first 2 or 3 rounds.
Same.
Yeah, he was definitely a very big target early on. So I guess, let's get into the first round. It was your regular voting round, which ended up with Matthew being eliminated. I said it last night, and I feel bad. Sorry out there, Matthew. Possibly the worst internet I've seen on Sequester.
Yeah.
It was very, very hard. The sound was coming out probably about 20 seconds after he said anything, and it was just kind of brought every room to a halt. Was there ever any other target in that round at all?
So I was in the room with Matthew to start, and so obviously you want to make close bonds with that first room, because you don't want in the early rounds. So I knew having Matthew was going to be difficult. We threw out Reagan's name because Matthew's in the room, so I think that's where that name for the next couple rounds kind of just stayed around. But it was one really sad to see Matthew go, but I was also dang, now I got no one else left in my room, and plus Matthew's seen my face for an hour, he's gonna pair me with somebody, and that's what happened. So
yeah, I would say our starting room, I was in a starting room with people here with Lance, and our room had come out saying Reagan as well, but it pretty quickly pivoted to Matthew, mainly because of the internet issues.
And then actually, our room originally said Adam, because he
said
was in
Adam.
that first
Sorry, then
group.
the second room I went to said Reagan.
Yeah, so our room, because we didn't know nothing about the internet connection, but we wanted to all at least vote together. So we went into it okay, well, we all presumed fresh meat, minus me knowing that they didn't have fresh meat, was everybody was like, well, Adam played because he vocalized that, I was the first boot already. So everybody was okay with okay, this is our shot. Let him be the Francesca of Sequester. We could get him out, and we all played from there. So it was definitely, that's how our room went into it. But then as soon as we went to the next room, everybody just ran with the internet thing, and it was Matt all over the place.
Yeah, my room at the beginning was we were very quick on Matthew. And so I was just as long as it's not me, I'll go spread anyone else's name. So I didn't have a problem with that. I did end up feeling a little bit bad, though.
Our room was kind of the same. We had Matthew and one other name that I think was thrown out, but then we just went on with that.
It was Jill. It was Matthew and Jill was thrown out.
Yeah, and I never saw Matthew the whole time, throughout that whole round, but I heard his connection was bad, and that's the only other name I heard that entire round. So.
I ended the round with him, in the room, and I was like, oh no, now he's going to pair me with somebody, but he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of the same way, Emily. I was I feel like I was one of the last people that he saw, and I was please don't remember me. Please don't remember me.
Yeah, he got fucked out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Poor Kevin. Pretty easy round.
I think part of the reason no one saw him was because it was having trouble even moving rooms, and I ended up in a room with him and was there for a minute maybe, and ended up leaving because it's just so hard to have a conversation. So.
Yeah, it was hard. It didn't seem like he could have. My thought process was, even if he wasn't voted out, he was probably going to get taken out soon, just from the tech difficulties, because it was slowing the game down so much. So yeah, it didn't really seem like there were a lot of other options being discussed. After Matthew was eliminated, it brought us to round 2, and he paired together Kelly and Adam, Anthony and Anil, and Greg and Katie. It definitely seemed like the majority of talk was on Anthony and Neil for the most of the time. What were you all thinking in that round?
I had two of my starting people paired up. So sorry, Anthony. I was trying to get it on you and Anil, not even because of the Anil BB Can thing, but you guys were the only pair that nobody from my room was in. But it seemed to me that Kelly and Adam were pretty quickly brought up as the targets. Is that what you guys saw in your rooms?
Yeah, but I thought people were leaning Anthony, and Anthony might be surprised by this, but I actually knew Adam, and he's kind of my friend. I haven't talked to him in literally like a year, but like I've played games with him before, so I actually voted for you and Anil that round. It was
I think that helped me. So yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking during that round, I was like, no, not Anthony and Anil. Like I was trying to get anything other than that. Whenever Anil, I forget who was in the room. Aaliyah, were you in the room whenever Anil told us that he had the LOS? And we were like, go find him.
Yeah. Was I in the room with you? He had said it. Oh yeah. Yes, I think that was.
He said that Anthony had the LOS.
He said that Anthony had it.
And I was like, go tell him to play it. And then he
that's
left, and then the round ended. And I was like, well, I hope he plays it because like he needs to.
Well, that was Anil playing it, so
yeah.
I appreciate it.
We were like, dude, play it. So I'm really glad that
when that round started, it was hilarious because I was in a room with me, Greg, and Kelly all in the same room, and we all just stared at each other because we were all in different pairs, and we were like, well, what are we gonna do now? Kelly left first. So like that's when I started doing Adam Kelly. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, the most I heard that round was Anthony and Anil, and a lot of people just said that they didn't want girls to go home. That was a big reason for it. So I think that's why it was pushed a lot. But
that's interesting. So I voted for Adam and Kelly in that round, and that's who ended up going home. The reason being that our starting room had said Adam, and so for the five of us there, that was seemed like the easy thing to push. I wasn't surprised that Anil and Anthony were getting the most votes, but I feel like I didn't hear Greg and Katie's name at all in that round. I had heard a little bit of Adam and was trying to get traction on it only because it had been said even just in one room in the previous round. But
Anil did come in. I was in that room too, and Anil came in and goes, so Anthony has an LOS. Should I find him and tell him to play it? He's like, do you think we need to play it? He's like, do you think the votes are on us? And we were like, yes, go find Anthony.
You
and
have to play it.
Later, it was him that played it. I was like, God damn.
When it's between two people, you got it. You don't want to go second boot.
Exactly.
No. It just, he told us it was Anthony, but it was him that had the idol.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
LOS.
You're good.
And I just I was completely snowed by that. I was like, go find Anthony, tell him to play it.
That's really funny.
Yeah, see, and that's kind of I think I was in there with you, but at that point I was pushing the narrative of Kelly and Adam because I really liked it, Anil, and I was like, okay, because I wanted to vote Kelly and Adam, but also the reason why I think Greg and Katie didn't gain traction as well because a lot of people that was in my initial, Greg was in my initial room, and a lot of people that was in our initial room was pushing the narrative for keeping each other safe as long as possible. So when our first rooms opened up, we was like, okay, well, the only option is Anil and Anthony or freaking Kelly and Adam. But I pushed well, I know we want to keep girls, but at the end of the day, we can't keep using that logic. Let's play the game. And that's when I think it just flew off that everybody was okay with doing Kelly and Adam. So I personally thought that the votes were good because I told Anil maybe you don't need to get him to use it. But then he was, obviously I was wrong. He needed to use it.
Yeah, and I think that the room logic in the beginning rounds makes so much sense to just keep those people safe. And Matthew going was so bad for me. And then the other two people in my room were Sergio and Adam. So I was at this point, Adam, I have to throw Adam's name out there, and then Sergio has to make a choice. So
right.
Was it round 2 when we ended up alone?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think after
was the
I watched
first
it over
person
and
I felt really good about. That's probably the person I was protect at all costs.
That's
in the very beginning.
Super interesting to me. I definitely felt the same, but I also knew I couldn't trust you, even though I did.
I did try to protect you. I really did.
I believe it.
Yeah, I was worried about you, Tommy, early too, because it seemed like right after Matt left, your internet was probably the next slowest, and it was a little and I was like, that doesn't.
If we're going into internet, a whole 5 minutes, I kept trying to go into, like, I was on StreamYard, and it was just saying, it won't let you in, it won't let you in. I restarted my computer, and I reboot Skype, and Audrey's like, we're gonna kick you from the game, like, if you're not back in, like, 10 seconds. Like, I'm here. Like, oh, it's so stressful.
Yeah, we all thought you were gonna get DQ'd watching that. It was gonna be another, like, it reminded me of, like, the MP Morgan situation when she was trying to repair her computer.
I was in so much pain. I was like, please do not kick me.
Yeah. You made it back just in time.
I did. Thank God.
I was curious about this round and what we thought about Anil's tactic to lie and say he wasn't, and he did it in the next round too, saying it wasn't him getting the LOSs. Like, did anyone believe that it wasn't him and people were playing LOSs on him?
No. I believed Anthony played that LOS for the two of them. I did believe that.
I believe that Anthony played it until the next round when I was in a room with Anthony, and you, Anthony, you seemed genuinely shocked when I told you that Anil said that you played the LOS, and that moment I was like, you know what, I believe Anthony, actually. And I had been in a room with Anil at some point during all of the previous rounds, and I still felt good about him, but that put like a seed of doubt in my mind of like, you know what, Anthony was like totally shocked. I didn't think you could fake that reaction. And then I still felt good with Anil, and I didn't tell him that I had talked to you or anything like that, but it just got in my head that like I should be a little bit more wary.
Yeah, and I was in a room with Mike, I think, and Mike and Reagan, and someone told me that Anil was also saying that I used the LOS, and then Anil comes in the room, and I think Reagan asked him about the LOS, and Anil just like doesn't say it was me. He just completely like goes silent, and I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I was talking to Anil. I don't remember which round it was, and he was still looking for who played it for him. And I was like, well, I thought it was Anthony. And he was like, no, I don't know. And then Sergio was in the room at that point, and I think he said that he did or something like that.
I heard something
and there was a crush
Sergio
going on.
An LOS on Anil. Yeah.
I was super confused. So that's the impression I was under the entire night, that Sergio did play it, which I didn't understand.
Interesting. Yeah.
I didn't think he'd burn an idol just to save him, personally.
That's what I was thinking too. I mean, it's so early in the game. Are you really going to go out of your way to start saving?
Yeah, it made no sense.
And also, you could tell watching Anil that he had a second screen and he was looking at it very quickly. So I was like, okay, well.
Anil in the first hour before the game. Okay, our starting room was Bryce, Mike, Emily, and Neil, right?
Room one cuties.
I was nervous because he just looked pissed off for that first hour. He was like,
totally did.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was scared of him.
Trying to, like, smile at each other and
like, yeah. Angelica and I were like drinking, kind of like bonding over that.
And I had nail polish with me, and I saw Emily doing her.
Yeah, I totally noticed that.
That was very cute.
I felt like I was vibing with everyone, but Anil was just like.
Just stone face.
His intro was like, was he the one that was like, he had like the naked pussy?
Yes, I was like,
okay, like he was just really weird until we got into the game, and I was like, okay, I like this guy, but before I was like, I'm scared of this guy.
I knew who he was as soon as he came in the room, but he wasn't giving me anything. No eye contact. Like, he was just, and he looked pissed. Like, I was like,
yeah. Like, I thought, like, all you guys were, like, friendly and smiling, and I was like, I think I can work with these guys. But him, I was just like, I don't know if I can even trust him.
The starting room was so crucial. So, like.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
our starting room did really well.
Mm-hmm. Once I saw Emily, I was happy she was in the game, but I wanted her to be in a different room. Like, if she was in the game, so that like we could protect each other. But it worked out fine.
Yeah.
We had a good room.
So that brought us to the end of the round where the LOS was played by Anil and Anthony and ended up with the elimination of Adam and Kelly. It seemed like Kelly had a lot of defenders and she just kind of got unlucky. I feel like Adam's video, it seems like if you mentioned you were an early boot in your video, you're going to be an early boot again.
Well,
so
honestly,
for future players, don't say it because people probably won't remember.
Don't even mention you played, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't remember.
I thought it was like
kind of intros.
Sorry.
So for the people that did come back, did you guys make new intro videos or did you just keep it the same?
I knew one and actually tried to. I didn't think I'd be cast so early, so I kind of sent a shitty video. I actually resubmitted a better video and they didn't play it, so I was like, oh no, like my video was like 16 seconds long.
I thought it was
Very
kind
short.
of poetic to vote Adam out second because I was like, haha, you're not first. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think I'm a little bit better.
I was like, there you go. I wouldn't vote you out first, but now, like I don't know.
He's improving. Adam, you're improving.
Very slow
so
rate.
Keep going. All right, so that brought us to round 3. 6 people were nominated, and it resulted in the elimination of Reagan, with Anil playing yet another LOS. Who were the targets there? What were we looking at going into that round?
Wait, was this
I don't think I don't have a list.
I think everyone was able to be voted for. I think this round.
I have extensive notes.
But I think coming off of it, I think there was a lot of heat on Anil, a lot of heat on me, and then I think me and Anil pushed Reagan's name. So I think that was the 3 names that I think was going around.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know I'm done. I mean, you go.
No, I was saying, like, initially in our room, Reagan name came up almost immediately because I knew I didn't want Anil out. Because I got like a really, really good vibe from him. Like after even like him talking to us about like, it sucks that people target me from Cam. So like Reagan, we looked at the board and we was like, okay, who do we not really have a lot of ties with? And someone I think threw out Reagan, and I was let's go.
That room was me, Lance, Angelica, and Emily were the 4 in that room that decided on Reagan.
I also then went right to Reagan and told him he was up because I knew he was putting 6 people up the next round. So I went to him and I was like, your name's out there, go save yourself. And then I voted for him because I didn't want to be one of the 6 people.
Exactly. So you had to play it like very smart. Like, yes, we threw the name out, but I immediately because I got in the room with them a little bit afterwards. I was like, the name. I'm gonna be honest with you. The names I'm hearing is Anil and you. Like, if it's something you could do, push maybe Anil to keep yourself here, kind of thing.
That round, I didn't see Reagan at all, and so I like purposefully voted for Anil because I knew he wasn't going to put me up. But then Reagan got the majority of the votes, and then I got put up. So
there really weren't any other names going around, were there? It was really just Reagan or Anil.
For the most part.
Like I have written down just Reagan and Anil.
Yeah, same.
I heard.
I forgot who I was in that starting room with, but that was kind of the route I went to. I was like, well, we just tried to get Anil out, so should we just push that again? And it wasn't until I ended up in a room alone with Anil where he was like, do you want to go Reagan? And I was like, I could do that. I was like very much under pressure and I was very upset that I just popped into a room alone with Anil. And so I just kind of like cracked under that. But Reagan was kind of someone that I was like, yeah, maybe he could also go. So that was actually the way that I voted that round.
Yeah, I felt for me like I had already been in rooms and talking like alliance or looking out for each other with Anil for so long that if he went, I was for sure going to get nominated, regardless, just because, if he was getting the majority of the votes, some people who talked to him had to be voting for him. So I voted for Reagan, and then my strategy was just like, if I'm in the background and I see Reagan in the room, like leave, because I hadn't talked to him at all, and I didn't want to talk to him in a round that I was voting for him.
Wasn't there an LOS that round? And so Anil did get the majority of the votes?
Which was part of the reason why I was like, well, let's just throw another vote towards Reagan's way, just in case.
I voted Reagan,
Yeah, I voted Reagan as well.
So that ended up after the LOS by Anil. Reagan went home, and then he had to nominate 6 people for the next round, which is usually our first round twist, but it was pushed up here. And he chose Zach, Jill, Tommy, Lana, Emily, and Sergio. And this, unfortunately, was the round that ended in Tommy's untimely demise, which I didn't really expect. I thought you had some longevity in you, especially with the video. You had a good video there, but it just did not work out. There was another successful LOS played in this round.
I know. Do you know?
I'm still not sure who it is.
I know, he told me. Sergio told me it was him.
It was Sergio. I had it was either Sergio or Jill. I knew it had to be one or the other. I think this mini also sets the record for most successful LOS plays. There were no unsuccessful LOS plays the entire game, which I have never seen happen before.
Has she flushed LOSs like that before?
Exactly, because I had one.
I have never seen that either.
Yeah.
But the good part about that round is that definitely Sergio's name was out pretty early on that round, and Jill's name was out a lot. But a lot of people, because even Lana and because I was in a room and I was like, well, I want the girls to stay. Weirdly, I was still on that kind of protect the girls, even though I really wasn't working with them. But I was like, Lana and Emily, I definitely don't want them gone because people had thrown out Jill, and I was like, well, honestly, we could do Jill later because Angelica, I think was in there. And he was like, yeah, she's someone that, we could,
I did not want her to go, and that's how I was trying to push it off.
And same here.
Guys, it's easy.
But we started in the room together, and it was like,
I was in the room with all three guys that were nominated.
Yeah, and you were like, Jill's the easy vote, and I was like, okay, yeah. But so then who else is it gonna be?
I couldn't really say because you guys were all in the room.
I heard it initially was Jill, but then people were pushing Tommy mostly, and then a little bit of Sergio. I heard people start pushing too.
I tried hard to get it off of Jill because I was in a room with her at the beginning, and I just felt like if she made it through that round, then she was going to be loyal to people who had been in rooms with her. She was like, she didn't want to go, and the emotion she had. So I ended up pushing and voting for Tommy as well.
And that's ultimately because I wound up voting Tommy as well because Sergio name was so out, but I had a great vibe from him. So I was like, okay, out of the people that I canceled that I'm not going to vote, as in the girls, then mixed with Sergio and my good vibe, I was like, I haven't talked to Tommy much. Let me throw it out there. And if it sticks, it sticks. Hopefully, whatever.
Yeah, in my room too, because Sergio's name was being pushed hard, and I was like, that's the only person left in the game who was my original room, and I was like, I need that. So, Tommy, you were someone that I was like, he's gonna be so dangerous if he gets really far.
So this is the round Sergio saved himself, right?
Yes, yeah.
So the last 10 seconds, I told him, I was like, there's a 25% chance you go here. He played it, and then later thought that I was voting for him. I think I actually ended up voting for Tommy this round, but he thought that because I told him. Wait, you were in the room with me, right, Anthony? No. I don't know. Well, in the room when he was yelling at us about if we voted for him? No. You weren't there then. It was one other person. No, it was Mike. It was Mike in the room, I think. But anyways, sorry, making this round about myself. But yeah, Tommy, I liked you a lot. I just felt like I talked to Sergio a little more. And I thought that you would play a very good under the radar, likable game. Because I just think you're a very likable person. But I was sad to see you go, even though I voted for you, because I thought there were other people I wanted out that round. But yeah.
I hadn't heard Sergio's name, actually. This is really interesting to hear how many other rooms were saying Sergio, because I heard it at the last second that was like, everyone's saying Tommy, but also I've heard Sergio was the message I was getting, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going to try to vote with the majority as long as it's not Jill, was kind of my mindset, and I actually thought it was Tommy, that you were going to get the majority of the vote.
Yeah, I got really panicky towards the end, because at first people were popping in being like, Tommy, I heard your name, and I was like, okay, yeah, of course you're going to hear my name, because there's only 6 of us. And then it started to gain more and more traction, and Lance, you were like, Tommy, your name's out there. Mike was like, Tommy, your name's out there. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just we're gonna go Sergio.
Because we were actually got in that room, and I was like, because I usually like to be honest with people because I think it earns favor. So I was like, Tommy, I did hear your name, and I was like, it's us 3 in here. It was 4 of us in the room at the time, and I'm like, let's just decide on somebody. We all vote together and hope that it sticks. And that's when we did Sergio. But I was like, honestly, I got a good vibe with Sergio, but I'm not about to tell you that, so I had to vote you out. But
it was fair. It was fair.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm done. No.
All right. Well, so Tommy, unfortunately, an early exit. What was your overall impression of the game? Are you planning on playing again? Did you enjoy the time you had in there?
So I definitely enjoyed when the game started. I was incredibly nervous the entire day because it was my first time playing, and I had I was cramming minis. I was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? So I was just very much let's just try it. And I just didn't want to be first. And so I think I did that. And then just to watch everyone else, I was like, wow, these are really incredible players. So I felt very lucky to be in your presence. But yes, I will play again.
Yeah, it's only uphill from here. I always say, I tell everybody, the first time you're unsure, and the second time you can really make a name for yourself.
Hopefully.
So
Well, thanks for having me. I'm gonna head out, but
absolutely, thank you for.
It was
coming
nice
on.
meeting you, Tommy.
Nice
You're gonna
meeting
crush
you,
it.
Tommy. We love you,
Tommy.
Tommy.
All right, so that brought us to the next round, which was the button twist, red-green, where you couldn't vote for someone you already voted for, and you had to stay in your room. So kind of a double twist here.
Neil was not leaving.
No. And this resulted in a Graham exit. It seemed to me like room 5 kind of decided, and picked basically who was going. But what were you all thinking in your respective rooms and how that went about?
Well, me
Yeah.
and Aaliyah were together, and we had 4 votes, and we were like, let's just pick somebody and just commit to that. And I definitely feel like another room might have picked Graham as well.
Yeah,
so I
my
think
room
it was
picked
Graham.
them.
My room actually voted Jill, and the reasoning behind it, there was only 3 of us. So we were afraid. We knew we couldn't really do anything. And the only way to make sure it wasn't one of us is put votes somewhere that we think other rooms are going to go and combine, right?
Who was in that room with you?
It was Katie and Jordan.
Okay, gotcha.
And so we didn't want to vote Jill, but between who we'd all voted for, it was the only name we could all vote for, that we were okay with. And that was another name that we thought another room might vote. So we wanted to stack votes.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing. We also had 3 people. We also did Jill. Just
yeah,
that
wow.
was our best
Wow.
bet.
on Jill. That's
So-
crazy.
Because our room, it was me, Anthony,
wait.
Mary,
I
and
didn't vote for Jill. I didn't vote with them. I just realized that.
Yeah,
We decided that, and I voted against them. I voted
for Jill. I thought I vibed with Graham more than Jill, and I thought I don't want to be a dick, but I thought Jill was more boring than Graham. I thought he'd be more entertaining to have in the cast, and I thought that we could work together. I did not vote for you.
My room was Lana, Zach, and Greg, and then I think we were just going down the line. I think I even suggested Reagan at first, and then they were like, honey, he's been voted out. I was like, oh, right.
Oh, I saw something on Twitter that someone quoted that.
Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. But then we were just like, I don't really remember Graham, and I kind of felt bad. But I was like, yeah, I don't remember him either. I don't think we were really in rooms very much.
I don't think I jumped around enough in the beginning.
Yeah. I think that's the same thing. The same way me, Aaliyah, and Jill and Mary kind of decided Graham too, because we thought, you might be the one getting votes. So I'm kind of
I think I had thrown out Sergio and then remembered I hadn't voted for. So I voted correctly in every round until I got out. Everyone I voted for got eliminated, so I was free to vote for whomever. But so I had thrown out Sergio's name, and then everyone in the room was like, even some of us can't vote Sergio, other rooms probably can't either, and so we ended up on Graham as name that hasn't come up. No one's really talked to you.
Yeah.
So.
I voted for Jill that round just because I hadn't voted for her before, but I heard that she had a lot of heat previously, so I wasn't really sure if she was going to go that round, but that's where I put my vote.
I voted Neil because I knew no one else could, so it was a throw. I knew that was a throwing my vote because I was one of the only people probably who hadn't voted for him at that point. So I didn't want Jill to go, so I threw
right. And see, I don't exactly know who I was in a room with, but my vote was for Katie, and it was definitely a throw because her name wasn't even out there. And at that point,
I feel like we had a lot of the same ideas.
Yeah, and my list, I literally voted correctly every round, so my vote was totally open. And at the end of the day, I knew I didn't want to vote O'Neal out. I knew people couldn't. Yeah. I honestly didn't even hear Graham's name because, like y'all said, we had to stay in the room.
We were in a room. It was you, me, and Nicole.
And we decided to stick to a name, and I just had threw mine at Katie because at that point is when I wanted LOS, and my nerves are so bad.
I thought you got that one.
Even she had messaged me vote please, and I'm like, oh, because I was so nervous because I just had got the freaking LOS in the process of trying to talk to y'all, and it just threw me for a freaking loop.
Wasn't that the huge LOS that round?
I don't know what it was because, and at that point,
huge.
I knew it was going to be either me or O'Neal because he had won so many freaking LOSs by that point too. So I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention. I'm talking to them, but I'm looking at this screen. I'm talking, and then it's when I did it, and then she was like, "You won the secret LOS." I'm like, "Oh," and then they vote please, and I'm like, "Oh, let me just throw Katie. I never voted her."
Yeah, because I heard your keyboard And then I think Neil and I both looked at the screen and hit our keyboards right after that. But
Yeah.
You got it.
Crazy. But it was definitely fun. I didn't, because we had to stay in the same room. I knew that Jill had a lot of heat, so I was surprised that it wasn't Jill, because I was literally shocked when it was like, and the person eliminated is Graham, and I'm like, what the heck? It was weird.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, that's a round that you've got to throw votes on somebody who hasn't gotten heat before. So,
Right.
I mean, I didn't see it coming, but it makes sense.
At all.
Yeah.
Said Jordan.
Yeah, and Jill was in our room, so she wasn't getting votes. Couldn't discuss that. But she was also in our starting room, and I felt good. This will come up at some point. The Jersey Alliance that started to form, but it could have been how many players in the game were from. There were like at least 4 of us. So
I grew up in New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
Me too. So Jill and I talked about it, and then Mike had talked about it.
I was born in New Jersey.
After the game that you were too, Angelica. So Jill and I were sort of
Jill and I are in a tri-state mini chat, and that's how I knew that you knew Mark, Graham. And I put my foot so fucking bad with that. I was like, I said it, and I was like, why did you say that?
I was gonna come talk to you at some point later, but I tried to push it off.
Yeah. Anyway.
I feel like there's definitely certain pockets of players like throughout the country. Like it seems like certain places are very represented in the Sequester community, like Jersey, Long Island, Austin. It seems like those places, like all the players come from there, which is very interesting.
A lot of Chicago last night.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Graham. You were going to say something.
Oh no, that was it.
All right. So that brought us to the end of the round, where it was Graham's elimination. Graham, what did you think of the experience overall? Obviously too short, but did you enjoy your time?
No, it was awesome. It was my first time, so I had fun. I got a lot out of it, so I'll definitely be back. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, we appreciate having you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Okay, so that brought us to round 6, which was the room roulette. Ended up with Mary, Lana, Aaliyah, and Jordan being nominated. Where were the votes going after we saw that?
Who was it again?
I was fully expecting, literally, I felt like I had no choice but to vote for Aaliyah because I was in the original room with Mary and Lana, and the 4 of us were the only ones who were up for elimination. So I was like, oh God, this is a terrible case.
Aaliyah hard.
Yeah, I found out.
I think I remember that, Angelica.
I did, because I was trying to keep Jordan safe because I had just spent a full round in a room with him, and I'm sorry, that's why.
No, I get it. I when I popped into that room at the last second, and it was you and Lana, and I threw out Mary's name, and I was just like,
we both just
I'm not
like,
feeling about this anymore.
Yeah.
But up until then, I hadn't heard I had people that I had talked to throughout all the rounds telling me essentially like, you're safe. You tell us who to vote for. We'll vote for them. And I just had a feeling that like I knew the Girls Alliance thing was not going to last. So there was no.
There were so many girls. It was like last time I played, there were 4 women, so it was different. Like we were not. I wasn't going to vote them, but this time I was more comfortable with it because there were a lot of us.
Right, and especially with 3 girls up, it was like, man, if Jordan's name starts going around, it's going to be like, oh, that's the Girls Alliance. Like no one's going to vote for Jordan. So I felt like off the bat, Jordan was safe in my book, and I had to throw out either Lana or Mary. And I had heard a little bit of Mary's name. I hadn't heard anyone say Lana, so when people were asking me for a name, I was throwing out Mary, but...
Yeah, because at that point, that's when I started realizing, like, the girls are really still here, still running rampant. So my initial thing was, like, I'm not voting Jordan. And then Lana was really sweet, but I had a great connection with Mary. But I know I was one person that was like, I think now it's time for us to break up the girl thing. And I wound up voting Mary, even though we were really close in the game at that point. But because Jordan, like, I literally got to the point, because even though like Bryce and Zach and everybody started putting out my name, I'm like, I need to keep the guys here until I really have to strike. And Jordan was definitely someone I started vibing with based on a room he was in the round before.
I heard a lot. I didn't meet Mary or Lana at that point, but I was hearing more Aaliyah, and I was hearing a lot of Jordan too. But I didn't meet Mary or Lana, so I had no allegiance to them, but those were the names being pushed to me.
I think I made a mistake in the middle of that round when I think it was in room 4, and I honestly forget who was in there, but it was none of the other players who were up, and then Jordan, you came in, and I left because I hadn't quite figured out how to strategize that round if someone else who was up for elimination was also in the room. And I think after the fact, had I stayed in that room, I wonder if how the votes would have gone if you couldn't push my name and I couldn't push yours, and we had to sort of get that room to stay on board with one of the other two, because that room I had been in for a long time, and I knew no one had said my name because I'd been with the same people. So in retrospect, I think my mistake was leaving a room that you came into since I wasn't pushing your name.
And I was fully expecting to go home that round. I was shocked that I survived that. Like, I made a overdramatic facial reaction, but it was how I was genuinely feeling at the time.
Yeah.
I was interested that round with, your room. You guys really didn't. Usually the plan is you stay in there as long as you can. First person to leave, and then the other, the people remaining start to talk and try to target the other one. You all left. And Mary was the only one left in there. And she was like, well, I guess no one's going to make a plan with me. And then she had to leave too. Was there any thinking about everybody scattering at the same time? Did anybody think about staying in there and trying to decide who to vote against?
I never considered it.
I did. I was the second to last to leave because I was like, oh, is this someone saying, oh, everyone should leave? And then no one leaves. So I figured if I was the second to last person to leave, it leaves somebody alone, just like I'm going to be alone going into another room. Like they'll be alone with people coming in. But I waited and just kind of like freeze framed almost. So it was like, oh, maybe you're like, so it looked like I wasn't staying around, like I was trying to get my computer going, but I was waiting for everyone else to leave. I figured if everyone's alone, it's a little bit different. But if like 2 or 3 people end up staying, then yeah, you're kind of screwed.
The other thing that struck me in this round was you, Angelica. I feel like this is one of the rounds where you started to kick it into gear, because I feel like you were kind of fundamental. Because you were hard on trying to save Mary, it seemed, or get Mary.
I didn't want Mary to go either, but I really didn't want Jordan to go, so I just pushed Aaliyah. That's who I felt the least like I spent the least time with.
I think it was Angelica who told me, like, oh, Mary bought a computer to play. I feel so bad for her. And I'm like, oh, you're so right.
Yeah. I felt so bad this round because going along with the narrative of like before what Bryce was saying before, how like he was trying to warn me like, hey, your name is going around. And I took that as like, I don't know, in my like alcohol, like induced stupor, like I was taking that as like, oh, these guys are saying my name, and then just telling me like, oh, so-and-so saying your name. And then so earlier, like in round 2 or 3, like Mary told me, Sergio, your name is going around. And that was like the first instance where I heard it. And so I like freaked out from that point forward.
Sergio,
and, yeah.
Like even if you thought there was a chance that I was being just completely fake to your face, like the fact that I told you should show at least some loyalty, or at least that like
definitely.
I was trying to breed that, so you shouldn't have gone for me. But I genuinely did think we patched it up after. I didn't believe that someone told you I was after you, because I wasn't, and I didn't know I
that was a lie, because I told you Mike
I knew that was a lie.
You didn't.
But I didn't.
You told me that. You told me that to go for Bryce.
And then you said Mike said it. You told me Mike said it later. I was like, I don't believe that for a second. I didn't believe that for a second.
I knew you didn't too, because Mike was out at that point, and I said, I don't know, just blame it on Mike.
Sergio, honestly, that's absolutely okay with me, because I'm out of it. You can't even fact check me, so that's good on you.
And I was like, of course you're gonna say that. No, I totally. I was like, oh yeah, he's out. He was after me anyway. I was like, yeah, buddy, okay.
I feel like we were both like dancing around like the lie, and we're like, okay, sure.
Don't talk about it.
I think this was the round that I was in a room with Sergio, and he went, okay, so I had been pushing your name for the prior rounds. I didn't know if you knew or not, but I was nervous about it.
I didn't know. No.
Yeah, okay, so I was nervous about it. But then we were in a room together, and you said, Angelica, you're a genius. And I thought, okay, now he's got to get to jury, and then he can go. Like literally, I wrote that in my notes. I said, "Bring him, like get him to jury.
Get him to jury." I would have loved that.
So I want him to vote for me at the end. You know what I mean? Like,
Angelica, when we got in the room together early, I was like, "Oh my god, we're gonna work together so great." And then I was like, "No one has said her name the whole game.
No,
I feel like she's close to the other women. Like, I need to get her out now." This was like mid-game, and we can talk about that later. I was scared to death of you, Angelica.
I mean, I forgot who I asked, but I'm not sure if it was Bryce or somebody else, but I was like, who is this like cabal of people that's like running the votes, where I'm always on the other side of it? And I felt like there was a group of people, and I feel like it might have been you, that was like pushing like my name earlier, and then like the other names that went out, and I was trying to figure out like who it was, but I could never get like any idea.
Yeah.
It bummed me out.
It did seem a lot of your time, Sergio, was spent trying to figure out Who voted for me? Who's out for me? Who wants to get me?
Well, because I felt like, so the first time I heard it from Mary, I was like, okay, it's out there. I'm not going to freak out about it. But then, like, when I had to play the LOS to save myself, I was just like trying to rack my brain. And I should have like moved past it, because hearing now that people were saying like, oh, I had a good vibe from Sergio and like he would have like made it far. And then I just like, in my head, I was like, but yeah, that's cool. But who's going after me? Like, you know, and
Sergio, it was so funny. I swear, like every time I got in a room with you, you would say, oh my gosh, I trust you guys. And then you would be like, but I don't know if I can trust you, Emily. I don't know if I can trust you. Like,
I know.
Yeah, you said that to everyone.
I did. I can show you my book.
And I was so surprised that I like
that one.
I was like, okay. And because and I feel like I recognized that mistake, and I was like, oh no, God, I'm going out next. But yeah.
You're like, yeah, I'm skeptical of you and you and you and you, but I want to work with you. But I'm skeptical of you.
But I'm skeptical. I don't know. Should I trust you? No.
Okay, buddy.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was awful.
It's funny.
There was a round that I voted for you, but it's later. It's the next one.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for you.
Not once? No,
I voted for you like a million.
I shouldn't have I blocked your vote, Bryce, in the later round. But we'll get
I knew you did. I knew you were going to do that. I was like, I knew you did. Someone told me you were going to block my vote. I don't remember who it was. And that's when I was really going after you. Once I heard that, and you're being so fake. I can't wait to talk about Final 7, Angelica.
But no, in that round, Angelica, like I immediately jumped on the like live stream on Podquester Mini last night to figure out what's going on. And
all my friends were there.
People were very nice to me, but I was like, could somebody tell me what happened? Like, because I did not cross paths with you, and they were like, oh, it was Angelica and Jordan that were pushing your name in that round. And I think the only thing I had talked to you about, you had popped in a room that I was in as I was leaving, and I think you had said, I think you had said something that you had talked to Mary and the girls are good, and I was like, okay, great, and then I left, and I think I really hadn't talked to you otherwise, so I wasn't that surprised. I was a little surprised about Jordan, because I wasn't pushing his name and we had been in rooms together, so I'm curious. I don't know if you, like, I'm curious how that plan got kind of started being spread around.
I literally, when I heard the 4 names, I picked yours and ran. I went to every room and just got as much as possible. That was my entire strategy that round.
No, I'm curious because I guess we just didn't cross paths in the same.
Like I remember right before I muted that round, I was like, Aaliyah.
Yeah, I wish Chocolate she went home.
I just was trying.
No, I don't blame you. I was just like, well, I didn't hear my name, and I was in like 4 of the rooms too. So just trying to like figure out who got that plan started and who was spreading it. Because as much as I tried to move around, kudos to you.
All right, so that ended with Alaya being voted out.
Am I saying it wrong?
No, you're saying it right, Angelica.
Okay.
Wait, what? So what is the problem? Aaliyah. Okay, I had it right the first time. What was your final thoughts on the evening? Did you have a good time? Would you play again?
Yes and yes. Yeah, I had so much fun. I've been sort of like in the background following Sequester stuff for a while. More recently a patron, and then once I became a patron, I was like, I should try to play. I guess I've always wanted to like test my skills after watching so much reality TV. It's like, why not give it a shot? So I had made a video and then I sat on it. I was like, oh my God, if I send this in, people will see it. And I have a weird thing about watching myself back. So I just like taped a video and like never watched it again until like this Friday when I was like, let me just make sure if I'm really going to send it that I don't look like a total fool and I don't hate this. So it was a lot of like mental steps for me to get there. Once I was in the game, I just had so much fun. It was like, I felt like I got right in the zone, and it's like new people to meet, new things to think about, and the distraction of like being utterly terrified that people are watching me do this kind of went out the window. I also have a mutual connection with Jen, who played one of the minis last weekend. I'm friends with her cousin, and so as I was having like a mini freak out of like, do I submit a video this weekend? She's like, don't worry, I was terrified too. And I was like, okay, I guess that's like a good enough answer to go for this. So I kind of got over the mental hurdles very slowly, but yeah, once the game started, I was just like ready to go. I had a ton of fun. I feel like I need a breather after it, but I feel like in the future I'd be willing to play again. Honestly, last night were most of my favorite twists. There are some twists I just like don't enjoy watching, didn't think I would enjoy playing, and they didn't show up last night. So in the rounds I played and the rounds I didn't. So I felt overall just like this was the right weekend to play, and yeah, hopefully I can be back sometime in the future. And it was
Absolutely.
great to meet you all. This is just like such a fun cast. So
Yeah.
It was. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun to watch. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Follow
thanks
Leah
for
on
having
Twitter.
me.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Leah.
Yeah.
Can I say something about the cast real quick? The crazy thing was like making notes from those videos. Normally, you like I feel like you can start half of them, and be like boring, like whatever. I don't remember. I was having trouble picking anyone who
Literally.
like
Oh, wow.
everyone stuck to me, and I was like, oh shit. From the beginning, because I had a very different experience last time I played, where I was just like, I don't remember anyone from their videos.
Yeah, it definitely was a difference from like even the ones that you watch in the past, and you're like, okay, this person could be out, I wouldn't even care. But there was so many people in this cast. I'm like, okay, you check off a box for me. You check off a box. You check off a box. I love you. I love you. I love you. Well, you're a little bit, but I still love you. Like it was definitely like a great cast from top to bottom, and I was excited and nervous to just jump in and just be like, okay, well, people like me. Was my video good? Did it make them laugh? Did it cackle? Like so much go into all of that as well.
Yeah, there were a few iffy videos, but I honestly don't think there were any like iffy people. Like I just think everyone like came to play, and it was a really good time, and I love this cast, and it's probably my favorite cast of the 4 I've played.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like everybody was ready to go from the start. Like oftentimes you see at least 3 or 4 people who don't really know exactly what they're doing, but it wasn't the case last night. Like everybody had an idea and they were willing to say names, which was what made it a lot of fun.
For sure.
So that brought us to round 7, which was the highest even number of votes.
Oh man, this round
was awful.
I was in
Bryce, and that sadly ended the elimination of Mike.
Oh, sorry. I didn't think you were going to end up voting for Lance, Anthony.
Well, I thought, did you vote for Lance?
I did.
Okay, because that room is, we said like straight, it was me, you, Katie, and someone else, and we were like, let's just vote one name, all 4 of us, and then like we don't have to mention anyone else, because that's 4 votes that just stays there. And you left first, so I didn't really get to say my spiel to you, but to the other 2 people, I was like, we have to keep our votes on Lance, because like,
I wasn't
no matter else, what else we hear, like we'll have 4 votes if Bryce just stays with it.
And I got, I think at the end of that round, I got in a room with Lana and Emily, and I don't remember who they said they were going to vote. Yeah, I need Emily back in. But yeah, so I was pretty good with Lance, but at the same time, I was scared of him. And this round and next round, I was after him. But after that, like I really wanted to work with him because I also realized like Angelica and the women were running this game, and I needed him. But Emily, so who at the end of that vote? Sorry to cut you off, Mike. Did you say you were going to vote?
With me?
No, Emily. Emily, who did you vote that round?
I voted for Sergio. Lana and I were like, okay, 2 is all we need, because I had no idea where the votes were going. We were just like, okay, 2 might be a majority here. Like,
And I think I told you I was going to do that and I'd find a 4th, but I didn't find a 4th, so I stick to the original plan of Lance. I think I considered doing Sergio because we had this weird
like as soon as
us,
you left, the round ended, and we were like, okay, let's just vote for Sergio because I don't know who else we're going to vote for. And then I was like shocked. Both Lana and I, whenever the tie hit, we were like, Mike and Lance? What? Like, it does not.
I did not hear Mike. I didn't hear him.
I initially heard Greg, and then after I heard Greg, I think I was in a room with Sergio, and then me and Sergio, I think, voted. Well, I voted for you, Bryce, and Sergio said he was going to do the same that round.
Mike!
I did too. Well, it was more so as the defensive too, because I was concerned about. Obviously, because I was concerned every round about hearing my name. So I just like defensive 2 against Bryce with Mike.
I'm shocked Mike voted for me.
I don't even know who voted for me that round, like initially. So
I
went into a room with Lance and just lied my ass off.
So it all started. My original room, I think I was in it with Angelica, and we was like, let's stick, it's 4 of us, let's stick on Greg. At that point, Greg was in my original room. I still was kind of protecting him because I still got good vibes from him. But at that point, I knew that my name was going out by like Bryce, Zach, and all of that. Bryce and Zach and them. And so I was like, I personally want to do Bryce.
Oh, I know. I stayed in the room with you because of that. I was like, I'm staying in a room with the people I think would go after me. Yeah, so I already had a vote set, and I was like, I'm not letting Angelica and Lance come after me. I was like, I'm going to stay in their room.
Right, so I was like, okay, I listened to Bryce a little spiel and like bounced out and was like moving around. And I don't remember who I got in the room. It was just me and one other person. I was like, hey, this is even number round. A lot of votes may go this way. if we stick 2, that might be enough. And I was like, let's stick 2 on Mike. And we stuck 2 on Mike, and it got into a tie, wound up being 4. So that's the crazy part, that he, you know, it tied with 4. So I personally need to find out. I know Bryce voted me. So it was Bryce. Who was the initial?
I voted
4?
Bryce. And then I voted Mike when it tied.
It was me, Zach, Katie, and Anthony.
Okay, yeah, so that was the 4. Yeah, and that was some of the people that I felt were coming after me. So good thing that I decided to stick with somebody and just put 2 on Mike, because I just was hoping that 2 would be enough. Because I was debating, should I vote myself or stick something where, you know,
Greg.
What's up, Greg?
And I also, when you guys were pitching Greg, I knew there wouldn't be 4 exactly. I loved Greg. So having 3, I was like, he's not going home.
And I wasn't going to vote Greg anyway, so that's why I was like,
Wait,
okay.
Who did you vote for?
I wound up voting Mike. I can't remember.
I voted Mike as well.
Yeah, I think it was me and Greg got in the room together and was like, let's just stick 2 together, because I thought 2 would be enough, but kind of find out 2 other people did Mike as well, which tied it with me. And at that point, I was about to use my LOS, because I'm looking at my vote and it says I vote Mike, but not playing my LOS.
Yeah, I just remember lobbying. I think it was like me and Mike in a room alone, right? And I remember like just lobbying really, really hard to go Bryce, and like just saying, please just do Bryce with me, to at least have that as like a shield or something, you know? Because we had no idea.
And I thought we could move forward from there too. But when I heard me and Lance were tied, I was shocked, because I hadn't heard Lance, I hadn't heard myself, and then on the revote, I was just trying to go around and push Lance, obviously.
I voted myself in the revote, guys.
I should have done the same thing, because then I would have saved myself.
Wait, no, is this the round? Yeah, this is the round that Emily told me Sergio was after me. And I was like,
I saw that.
Sergio, you were in a room with me and Lana, and then you were like, okay, Bryce, and we were like,
that was the
like,
worst. That was the worst person you could have told that to.
And both of us were like, "Yeah, no, I don't really want to do Bryce," because we both liked Bryce. And then Bryce came into the room, and I was like, "Bryce, Sergio, say your name."
Yeah. So by that point, I knew, like, when it tied with me and Mike, I was like, okay, I've been more of a target than Mike. So I literally had popped in a room, and it was Anil and Katie, and I was in the background waiting to get in. And I heard them say something about like Lance is the bigger threat, and I'm like, I got in. I'm like, how am I a bigger threat? I've been looking out for you. I've been looking out for you. I literally was looking out for. I was like, O'Neal, I've been looking out for you this whole time. And he's like, we were just weighing the options. And I'm like, no, y'all were saying y'all were going to vote me. So I already knew that like Zach and Bryce were already coming after me. So I was like, you know what? Let me shake some shit up and vote myself. And let me vote myself. And
I almost voted for myself that round, but we'd had that voting block of 4 is the only reason I didn't.
So in the revote, I decided, like, in the initial vote, I voted Mike. But then in the revote, I voted myself, because I was like, okay, it's so easy for them to stock a 6 on me. So let me just vote myself, just throw their plans away. It was risky. I could have easily went home with it, but it ultimately saved me, because it made it odd and kept me in the fucking game. And I didn't use my LOS. So
I did vote for Lance, and I didn't vote for myself. It would have saved me. I don't know if that would have meant you would have had.
It would have both tied, and everyone else would have went to Wheel.
It was an even tiebreaker, right? The highest even still at the tie, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
which is just crazy. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah, I voted Mike, because I thought he would get.
That one was possible to
try and,
go
like,
to
F
a
up.
wheel, because there were 13 people voting, so there had to be one even and one odd.
So it's a crapshoot. So if you get even or odd, like it could be. Oh, it's so crazy. It could be like 10-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
So Greg, all right. First of all, someone said in the chat that they're suddenly feeling hot, and many of my friends, your accent, I just think a lot of people are in love with you. But secondly, who are you close to this game? I thought you were a wild card. Like, I thought we vibed well, but I had no idea who you were with.
My number one ally.
I actually felt like I was in a super good position. I felt like there was a core group of us in the middle who were playing very similar games. Me, Anthony, Katie, and Emily, the 4 of us, that were just, there was so much chaos in those early rounds with people playing, like clearly playing really well, playing LOSs left, right, and center. And I felt like the 4 of us were able to just kind of,
I thought it was ridiculous. People said I was playing under the radar when the stuff with Sergio was happening, the stuff with Lance was happening. Like, I was screaming the entire game.
Yeah, you were throwing out names like first round. I think when we played the game, you're just like Jill and Matt.
Because you have to go into it wanting to throw out names, especially if you're a bigger name, your name will come up. So like with Greg being like under the radar, he was also well protected, because even though like how he mentioned, I wasn't maybe one of his closest, but I felt like a gain of protection from him where I wanted to keep him here for my game. And that's why I never threw out Greg's name. Like when people brought it up, he was already in my initial room. So that was one check mark. But then we also had the same type of gameplay, you know, in a sense. So I wanted to keep him for my
game. Because I know some people shit on like the first room alliances, but I did feel like we had done pretty well over those first few rounds.
Exactly.
Backing each other up.
Kept Jill's name off the book.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. We really worked hard to keep our initial room together for the most part.
Yeah, I just didn't know. I didn't know where Greg stood, and I didn't feel like I was good with him personally. So I felt like he could go. That's how, you know. And I just watched him in international. Like you know what I mean. Like I was just like, you were really fresh in my mind, and that's why I was like, I think he's it was like nothing but respect. You know what I mean? I was like, he's got to go. I think.
So I'm going to make this all about me. Sequester Access kind of asked a really important question, so I think we need to add Emily to the stream.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Emily?
I don't...
Look,
like,
Audrey said that she wanted us back for the couples mini. Would you be down for that?
Oh yeah, sure.
Part two? Part two? That doesn't sound very enthusiastic, Emily.
My boyfriend.
Emily shouted at me.
I mean,
That's
you
a
can have
chop.
a sequester boyfriend. I
That's
don't
a
know.
chop.
Oh my god. There was a
That's a
tweet.
chop.
It was so funny. I mean, I was in a room. Let me find it. I was in a room by myself. People had just left, and I was like shouting out my friends. And I said, "Shout out to Ben. He's probably not watching. He's my boyfriend." And somebody quoted it. I thought it was so funny.
I did that one
Emily. He was watching.
And snored at me.
What did you say?
I was at my friends, and the moderator was like, so I stuck my tongue out at him and left the room.
I loved the mods last night. The new mods, I thought they were great. So shout out to them.
Mods were great. I asked if I could get water, and they came on. They were like, "We don't drink water."
No, the funny part is, I think I went to the restroom probably the most out of anybody.
You
because
did.
the alcohol was like getting to me. So my mod, like between almost every round, so like I was in a room and the mod was like, "Who, Lance? You and something?" And like, because I was literally going so much, they was like, "I hope you're washing them hands 20 seconds." And look, my response, because I was so drunk, I'm like, "I'm a flight attendant. I know, 20 seconds. I got this." It was fun though. The mods were great. They were funny as
kept
heck.
forgetting to go to the bathroom, and then like in the middle of the round, I'd be like, "Oh shit, I should have gone to the
Lance and
bathroom."
I went and came back and missed like part of the announcements of like who got votes in the it was the round where you had to vote together. The tether. Wait, is that tether technically? Where you're just alone with someone, and I was like, I don't know who got votes.
Right. It's crazy.
So that was, I will say, from a viewing experience, I was very upset with that tie when it was Lance and Mike, because you two were two of my favorites watching the game, and knowing that one of you was likely going home was rough. But Mike, what did you think? I know you had been wanting to play this game. How did you enjoy it? How did you enjoy your first go at it?
I really enjoyed it. I was initially a Survivor fan, and I watched a little bit of Big Brother, and then I learned about Sequester, and then I went back and watched BB17 just so I could see Audrey, because I found out about her. And I had so much fun playing the game, and the entire thing has just been a whole lot of fun. I hope I get to play again. Kind of sad I went pre-jury, but you know, it's all in good fun. I love the cast. You guys are all awesome, and yeah, nothing but love for you guys.
You're great, Mike.
Definitely play again, Mike. I want to see you play again.
It sucks that it was me and you.
Yeah,
and I'm
I agree.
So happy I voted myself.
Wish I did.
All right. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
All right. So that brought us to round 8, which was another red-green twist. It resulted in Lance's successful LOS play and the Zach elimination. The greens were safe and were blockers. So Angelica, Anil, Jordan, Jill, and Sergio were all safe and were able to block a vote. Everybody else was at risk. What were we thinking?
Also, LOS just got flushed, so I lost the one LOS that I did have at that point, and then won the only LOS that was able for that round. So like it was a plus.
This is the first time in the 4 minis that I've played that I have hit the red button, and it's the only time that it screwed me. Because I knew my vote was being blocked. I knew it just did not matter. Because I knew Lance or Angelica was, or Sergio, I mean.
I told Angelica to block your vote because I knew by that point you and Zach were coming for me. So I was like, she was like, Lance, like, who do you think is coming for you? I'm like, Bryce or Zach, block one of their votes because I know they're voting for me. And at that point, I was nervous because the one LOS I didn't use last round just got flushed, and then wasn't sure if they was going to even have an LOS, being that they flushed everything. And I was like, this is my freaking round to go. Then a good old green button hopped up on that screen, and I collected that LOS.
This was the round I threw Lance so hard under the bus to Emily, because when Lance was pronounced safe during the tie, Jordan was like, and I was like, why would he like sigh such a big like sigh of relief? Like, I was like, I just told you I voted for Lance, and then he like was like, oh, I'm just gonna vote Mike, and I was like, I respect that, but he was so happy that you're in, and then he threw Emily's name to me, and I was like, Jordan, I love Emily. Like in my head, I was like, I can't do Emily, but I was like, sure, I'll do Emily. Ran to Emily's room, threw Lance under the bus because I felt more connected to Jordan than Lance. So I was like, Emily's name's gonna be out there anyway.
Was
so
this the round that like my name was like kind of like first out there for
this
real?
This is where I started to mess up my own game and throw your name out there, Emily.
Yeah, after the game, my brother who was watching, he was like, Emily, I did not like Jordan. He had your name in his
Lance
mouth.
threw it out too, and I was like, oh, well, we'll get her later.
But I only threw it out because the main focal was like the Anthony spread it there. So I feel like Emily was like now in the same category with Bryce and Zach, like running my name hard for no reason. And at that point, I felt good with Emily, so it was kind of weird that she had even believed it.
I mean, I thought I was good with you too, so I was surprised. I mean, like we were both surprised, and then we like whatever you talked to me. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Like I thought that we had kind of like tried to squash it.
Because I was with Emily in the room when I said like that Lance said his name, like you said your name, and then Jordan walks in, and then like Emily just like, Lance is saying my name, and I was like, oh wait, Jordan said your name, not like I just hope Jordan like didn't catch on to that lie.
Yeah, because I literally went in the room and I'm like, Emily, I promise you I never said your name, like that is false. And she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, Emily, I promise you I did not say your name. I was like, let's just squash this, because at that point I was still in that same round. I tried to squash everything with Zach and Bryce because I heard they was throwing me out, and I could tell that they was just paying, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna tell this guy whatever he want to hear, but he gotta go. And
I didn't think that we could necessarily mend it at the time. We totally did mend it because we both aren't personal players. Like we totally like we do what's best. Like I wasn't going after you because I didn't like you. It's because I respected the hell out of you.
Exactly. Yeah.
My notes, I crossed out who I was blocking 3 times before I came to Bryce. I literally wrote block Greg, cross it out. Then I wrote block Emily, cross it out. And then I wrote block Bryce. And then I blocked. Like, so I was obviously like going through something.
Because we had that last conversation right before you.
I got double blocked, so I should have just not been blocked, but whatever.
That's what honestly, I kept telling people, I don't want to block someone else, so someone else is. I don't want to waste it. Right. Like, everyone was telling me to block Lance. That's what I was being told. And I was like, no, I'm trying to do this for Lance. Like that's okay.
Here's where I made a couple mistakes with this, obviously, but one of the big ones in my mind is that I was one of 5 people that were safe that round. I should have waited. Nobody in my room that was unsafe was saying a name, and I was waiting, and nobody said anything. So I felt like I had to say a name just so we could get a conversation going.
I think Anthony forced you to talk.
Yeah, it was me and Zach. I was like, what were you thinking, Jordan? Because I was like, for you.
I should have been like, I'm safe. I don't need to say a name right now. I should have.
Right. And that's the round where like I was like, you know what, all of this craziness, if my vote does matter, I'm gonna put on someone that I know is coming for me, and it's obviously not like trying to, mend it, even though I've come to you. And that's when I was like, bye Zach, bye.
Yeah, who voted for Zach? I had no idea.
I think it was just me.
Oh wow. Because you played because an LOS was successfully played, right?
Yeah, it was successfully played.
Was that 4 in the
Greg voted Zach as well. Okay, yeah.
I voted for Lance.
I voted for Lance.
Yeah, I was gone. It was a successful LOS, so definitely a lot of people voted me. So
I voted Zach because I did hear that Lance was coming up towards the end.
Yeah, and then so we voted Zach, and Zach was literally in my room when he was getting eliminated, and I was like, bye. Get out of here. Bye. I was like going crazy because I'm like, you come for me, it's time for you to go. I tried to mend fences with you, and you obviously still was coming for me.
Someone told me on his exit, he said something about you. Like, of course I was after you, or just said something petty.
Yeah.
What I want to know is how close were you exactly to Angelica? How did it happen? Because I also know in the round between Angelica and Katie, I was pushing more Angelica than Katie because I was
knew you were.
Angelica. But so how are you guys so close? I didn't see you guys mingle like that much. Were you friends before the game, or how did it happen? Or you guys, Lance and Angelica?
No, I didn't know her at all. Like,
so
literally,
what made you want to protect him? Just out of curiosity.
Before the game. I knew 2 people going into the game, and he was not one of them.
So what made you want to protect him?
We was in rooms together. Yeah, we was in rooms together, and like when we would have a moment where we can, like I would be like, oh, I loved your vibe. She loved my vibe, and we like connected. I was like, I definitely want to work with you. I think it was one point we was in a room, maybe her and Lana, and I made like something kind of solid. But Angelica knew I was more talking to her. Yeah, and Anil, and I was more talking to like her, be like, I got you. And from that point on, like literally rounds, I
think that's when we really developed sides.
Yeah.
Of the game. Like, and people.
But it's interesting because Lance was still working with me to go after your side. Like, I needed Lance to go after Katie because it became obvious to me that you guys were close.
But I knew Katie had threw my name out because the round with the tie, I popped in that room, and remember I was saying how like it was Katie and Anil was in that room, and they was like saying that I was the bigger threat, and Katie was one of the one person who said it, like, yeah, like Lance needs to go before Matt, and I'm like, okay. So in my mind, no, I was just saying in my mind I knew like Katie is definitely not the one I could trust moving forward. So that's why with our round, even though we're gonna get into it more, but Bryce, when it was tethered, on the date, I was so set. I'm like, you remember, I was like, Katie, our bus, like, and it also made bus.
I was fine with that though, because I just like Katie wasn't pitching names, but when she was, it was never a female, and I just like it. I thought that the girls were working together, minus Emily, because I knew I had Emily, but I also didn't know if she'd like work with them some, and then I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad that we were willing to mend. Obviously, we had to vote together that round. But had you stayed, I was so down to work with you the rest of the way.
We was good. Like if I would have stayed and survived, like me and you, I don't honestly. I'm a type of person. I'm a game player, but at the same time, I don't mind losing to an amazing player. Like no matter what. So like I even told that to Angelica. Like I was working with you hardcore, knowing you was playing a good ass game. But if I'm confident in my gameplay and able to express how I play throughout the night, I don't mind going up against a tough competitor.
Oh, I don't think it would. I think Angelica probably would have beat me. It would have been really close. I think Lance and I would have been very close.
Yeah.
As well.
It would have been close. We've been real close.
Yeah. You played amazing, Angelica.
Yeah.
You definitely did not play for second place.
I was just, I had some PTSD. I was just, I didn't want to do that. And we'll get into it later, but that's the only reason why me and Anil voted Lance in that one round. It was so situational, but we'll get into it.
It was fun to see.
So after the LOS play, Zach was eliminated, and it brought us to round 9, which was the evens and odds round. There were only 4 people on the plus side, and that were Jill, Lana, Sergio, and Emily. And this round resulted in Jill's elimination. So let's get into that a little bit and what happened there.
I voted Sergio, staring at him as I vote.
I swear this was my round. Like, I think my brother and like my family, as they were watching like afterwards, they were like, yeah, I thought you were dead like that round. I don't know how I survived that. I really don't.
Me, obviously.
Yeah, I guess.
I think we were looking at this round. The 4 pluses didn't seem connected to each other. So it didn't seem like a risk that the 4 pluses would actually have any impact in they would be able to band together. And,
yeah,
so like
I voted
really
for
did
Lance
seem
that round,
was
but
Jill
I
the
knew that it
consensus
wasn't
from the
gonna
outset,
like
though?
go anywhere.
I thought she was, but
yeah. And I literally voted Emily, and I think I kind of like ran her name because I was still like because I didn't feel like she took my like washing it under the rug seriously. Like she was another one that I wasn't sure if she really washed it under the rug. So like when people brought up the possibilities, like I think I was in a room again, and we was like looking at the screen, and we're like, okay, who do we feel less connected? And I was like, Emily is probably like got something going. I thought it was I thought Emily had like a bigger impact with the girls. I never expect, because I didn't know her and Bryce knew each other, and her and Anthony. So like, I think my mistake was being around the wrong people saying Emily's name. Cause now I know Anthony, ate that up. And of course, Bryce was probably like, okay, Lance, but
like that
Okay,
round,
Lance.
I kind of felt like Bryce, Anthony, Greg, and Anil were not going to vote for me.
And then me and
Those were the
Jordan.
Obviously,
people
I'm
I
not
was like
voting.
pretty
Yeah, and
confident
then
were not
me
going to
and-
vote for me.
Yeah, and
So I
then
was
I
like,
talked
okay,
to
who
Jordan.
do I need to talk to make sure that they vote for Jill?
Yeah, because I had talked to Jordan in a room too, and that's when we was like, because he had wanted to do Emily before, and I was like, this is our chance. Like, let's do M. Like,
And
let's do M.
Emily, I just want to clarify. I hope you never thought this was personal. I thought you were such an likable, under the radar threat that if you made it to jury phase, nobody would target you. So I'm like, oh god, I need to get around now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
tell me it was
I think
nothing
that kind
personal.
of happened. So
No, I definitely
Yeah.
had winner
Why-
vibes from the outset for sure.
And
Lance,
then that was why I did it the last round where Zach went home, and then this round I continued it because hey, you're one of only 4 people I'm going to vote for. I can vote for. Why not keep the same name rather than and someone
yeah,
else?
I think it made sense.
We also have Anil here to add into the conversation.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey.
How's everybody doing?
Good. The man of the hour. Waiting to
Canadian
talk to
king.
you.
What's going on?
We're talking about the round
The
where
plus-
it was like evens and odds. So evens could vote for odds and odds for.
Or my gang started to go downhill fast.
Who went?
Jill did,
This
right?
one, Jill
Yeah,
went
so
out.
this was the one that resulted in the elimination of Jill.
Right.
Who did you vote for?
Yeah.
I think I voted for Jill.
Okay, good.
I voted Emily.
It was either me or Jill.
Who'd you vote for, Emily?
I
Just
voted for
the-
Lance.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wait, you voted for Lance?
Yeah. But like ultimately, like it didn't matter.
didn't matter.
We were
That's
just
what-
4 of us. Yeah. So it was like,
and that's
okay.
why I knew I wasn't worried. And Sergio, I have been protecting you a lot that round, so it's kind of interesting. I mean, a lot like
Thank
in the
you.
past. So it's kind of interesting that you just like threw it at me. But at that point, that's when I was like, okay, my name been on the block, but I'm on the right side of it. There's no way I could go home because it's only 4 pluses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever people want to do, I'm down for it. So that's why when I talked to Jordan, I was okay with doing M because she was already on my radar. Then he talked about how he was trying to get her out the round before and didn't understand why I was in the tie. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's get it. Let's vote. And I was okay with doing Emily. But then it wound up tying or
I
something.
think the reason I was pushing Lance that round was because Bryce told me to. Like he was in a room with me and he was like, Emily, Bryce, like Lance was saying it like the whole round.
Yeah.
We need to go for
Sheep.
Lance.
Sheep. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm
like,
totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. But yeah, I hadn't. Wait, which round was this? I was going for Lance this round.
This is
Oh
the
yes,
Jill round.
yes. No, I
Well,
still am going for
you
Lance.
couldn't
Yes, I
vote
was.
for
You
Lance,
couldn't
but
vote
like,
for me.
I mean,
I was still
yeah.
telling you we need to get him out because he was
Mhm.
after me and he was after you.
Yeah.
I made sure to let you know. Also, Anil, buddy, can't wait to talk to you.
Hi.
Welcome to the pod.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So Anil had touched on the fact, you remember when I jumped in that room, it was kind of last round, even though you're a little late, but when I jumped in the room with you and Katie, when it tied with me and Matt, and y'all were like, Lance is the bigger threat. And I popped in and y'all was like, we were just weighing the options. I'm like, no, I literally heard y'all say, Lance is the threat. He needs to go, especially Katie. And I'm like, y'all try to play naive with me, the wrong person. And I was like, O'Neal, I've been looking out for you. Like, I came to you every time when people brought your name. And I was like, dang, this guy is really coming for me. And
It was only 2 because room 1 I felt really good about and Mike was in my room. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at that point, I still thought that you were the bigger threat.
Anil,
Easier to get rid of Mike later.
so you weren't here for this, Anil, but we were talking about how the hour before the game, you just looked pissed. Like everyone was being smiley, like
He
drinking.
was
You're
in the
just like,
zone.
I was so stressed out. I was just like, what have I gotten myself into? And then before, I guess, like I was reading like that spreadsheet, I guess, that somebody made. And I was like, oh, I bit off more than I could chew. I could barely count to 10. I was stressed.
yeah, and 22 people. I was like, this is
Oh my
like 20
God.
person cast is like a little bigger than the 18, but 22. I was like,
whenever we were in a room with 5 people to start, I was like, oh shit, this is a big cast.
I was like, is there 25
so worried.
people?
I was so shocked.
Yeah, I was like, when we had 4 for a while, and then Bryce joined, I was like, dude,
Right.
no.
Well,
Like,
I did not want that initial round to be the round where you had to nominate someone because I knew we were all like, it seemed like pretty strong players and like would definitely like hold a grudge. I was like, this is interesting. There's like 3 men, 2 women. It was just an interesting dynamic. But anyways,
When there was
back.
the intros, when like they got to like the 20th or 21st person, I was like, wait, like I started counting. I was like,
Same.
it's not 20 people. I was like, that keep
I
going.
wrote down 20, like so I could like write down people's names and notes, and then I was like, oh, okay, on to 21.
Same with me. Like I literally had wrote me a list of 1 through 20, like just in case it might be 18, but I wrote 1 through 20, and then it got past my 20, and I'm like, what the frick is going on?
I wish I had 5 people. I had only 4 in my room.
Me too.
Yeah, I only had 4 too, so that's why I assumed it was a 20-person cast. I was like,
Room 1, period.
I'm like,
So that in the end of that round, Jill was eliminated. Oh, actually, I did want to talk to Bryce really quick. Bryce, this was the round where you disappeared for approximately 5 to 7 minutes, and we all thought your game was completely over. And things would have been very different if that happened. So run us through that, what exactly was taking place, and how panicked were you?
Oh, I cannot even tell you how panicked I was. Because I was in StreamYard, and it's just like, it won't let you connect. It won't let you connect. I tried turning on and off my camera, on and off my mic. I tried exiting out of StreamYard, going back in StreamYard. Nothing was working. I was like, the only thing my idiot self can think of is restarting my computer. That'll work, right? So I restart my computer, and it's being so slow. So I run upstairs. I was on my work computer to get my other computer, and it was dead. So I run back downstairs, and I'm just freaking out, and it finally loads. I load up Skype, and Audrey's like, I have to boot you. I have to boot you. And I'm like, I'm here. It's like, I have no idea how people like in the game didn't even, I guess there's still a decent amount of people left, but no one even really mentioned that I was just gone. Like in the next round, I was like, sorry guys, like I just wasn't there. But like, I mean, of course you didn't notice, Emily. I left every single room that like we were in together. But yeah, that was the most stressed out I've ever been in my life. My heart rate was through the roof. It was nuts, and I'm very glad and thankful that Audrey gave me a few minutes to get back in the game. So
yeah,
thank you,
when we were on the stream, I think Brent texted Audrey to find out what was going on, and she responded that you had a minute to get back on, and we were like, oh my god, and you made it back like 30 seconds left. It was great.
Bro, that would have been so bad. I would have fucking been so upset.
So we'll get into the next round. After Jill's elimination, it brought us to round 10, which was the second highest number of votes would go home. And this was the round that resulted in Jordan's elimination. So let's get a little bit into that one.
I didn't think, again, because Emily hadn't yet received the highest number of votes, I thought, okay, there's a semi-decent chance that she might receive the second highest number of votes and like just keep pushing forward with that name.
And like
the room, this is when I was gone. This is when I was too drunk to play. At this point, this is when my notes get bad. Like they're not making sense. But anyway.
In the rooms I was in, we were splitting between Lance and Jordan, and it was supposed to be Lance getting more of the votes. And I know Emily self-voted because I think that might have saved her. But I also wanted Lance around because, you know, I felt like Jordan would be more likely to go after me than Lance would because Lance would want Emily gone first. So I voted for Jordan instead of Lance, and I think that helps make Jordan the second highest votes.
This was the round that Anil, Lana, and Lance and I ended up in a room and solidified a 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's, yeah.
I have that in my notes.
Did anyone vote for me? Did I just self-vote?
I voted for you.
I thought I was getting so many votes.
I didn't even vote for you that round.
I voted Emily.
Yeah, okay, so I just self-voted for like no reason. I was like, I saved myself. I did not. I did nothing.
I did as well, though. So you got 2 votes.
Oh, you did too? You self-voted?
Yeah,
no,
so
I voted for you, Emily.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, because I won a LOS. I'm trying to see how did my vote chart go from there. LOS.
So how many votes did Jordan get, and who got the most? What?
I know,
what is the vote count?
I don't know.
I think you did have the most, Emily, and then Jordan got second.
Mm-hmm.
I should have
then okay, I did it.
I think even without your vote, you still would have been fine. Your self vote.
I don't know.
I
genuinely don't know. Like
there were so many names thrown out this round.
And I'm not going to mention specific people, but I was like starting to talk about safety round, and as soon as I said that, I'm like, okay, there's not going to be a safety round now that I say it. It's what I get for mentioning it before I need to.
We made a plan for safety. I made a plan with Jordan for safety chain, which I've never had to play.
I
wanted to do a safety chain too.
I've never gotten it in a safety chain. Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like Angelica, you had the strategy which I always apply, and I feel like the group always applies, is that throw 2 names out there right from the start. That way, at least you can have 2 names getting votes at the beginning, and just it doesn't matter which one of them it is,
It was
as long
Emily
as
and
it's
Terry,
one of
right?
them. Yeah, that's what it seemed to be. But it did end up falling on Jordan. So Jordan, what were your thoughts overall? It seemed like you were in a little danger early, and you managed to get past it and make it a decent amount of the ways, almost to jury.
Yeah, I should have realized like I would had a decent chance of being safe after I was saved from the room selection round, where it was just me. I was saved that round. I figured but I made a mistake of throwing a name out rather than having somebody else throw a name out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought you did great. Did you enjoy? Are you planning on playing again? Do you think this was one and done, or you think you're gonna do it once more?
I'd play again, but I need a little break. It was a lot of fun and energizing, but I'm kind of exhausted as well. So a mixture of, but yeah, I'd play again.
It is draining, that's for sure. It's the entire weekend. It'll drain you for the entire weekend after you play this game. All right, thank you, Jordan. Thank you for joining us today.
Love y'all.
Bye.
All right, so that is going to bring us to round 11, which was a regular vote right before jury and a drag round, which resulted in 2 of us here leaving, both Greg and Sergio. What was the plan here? Obviously, a lot of votes were thrown, but
I thought I was throwing my vote. I really did. And when she said Greg, I was like, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Like I was in a room with you. So I was like, I was looking at you and I was like, he's gonna drag me.
No, I thought I was fucked.
I wanted you to be dragged so bad.
The internet apparently, but it's fine.
No, you had so many fans. What?
Well, I know, but there were people who like really wanted Greg to drag me because
Did everyone just throw their vote onto Greg?
Yeah. I was convinced that Greg was getting no votes.
That so sucks for Greg.
Greg,
I told
you were
Greg
robbed.
at the beginning of the round.
I think so many of us were just feeling so comfortable at this point. Because I know for a fact I just didn't throw out a single name. I knew for a start I was going to throw, and never even.
Dude, I was so sure that you were gonna make jury. Like I voted for Angelica this round, actually.
I did not. I thought she was dragging my ass. Now, knowing how she thought about me, I don't think she would have. Because I wouldn't have dragged you, Angelica. But interesting. I made a deal with Greg to not vote each other. I wouldn't have voted him anyway. But that was mostly so Katie wouldn't vote me. I was like, if you drag me, you're gone, sis. Was basically what that deal was.
I think me, Mary, was it you, Emily, that ended up together at the end of that round?
Yes, and then we were in the room, and you were like, "I'm getting dragged."
Well, it was supposed to be. I think we all like said Anil just because of the target, and none of us were actually going to do it. It felt like, and so
that's what I was told Anil too, and I was like, I think Anil would drag me if he saw that I voted for him. So I threw my vote onto Lance because I thought, if anything, Lance would drag Emily, like worst case.
Yeah, this is just a crapshoot. I felt like,
but. Like when I was in the room with Greg, Angelica, and Lana, who both of them voted Greg, and I was sitting there and I was like, he's gonna drag one of them, and this is gonna be so sad.
And see, that was my thought process. Like I knew that a lot of people were possibly doing Anil, and I'm like, okay, I didn't fix my problems with him. Like if I vote him, he's gonna drag me because whatever. So I'm like, okay, let me throw it on an ally of mine that I don't feel is getting a lot of votes. And I threw it on Angelica. So that's the weird part about it that I'm surprised,
Oh, Angelica too.
Emily voted her as well. So like it's so interesting that I voted. I just threw my ally because I'm like, okay, she's not gonna get votes, so my vote won't be exposed at all. But that could have freaking backfired in my face if enough people would have jumped on that bandwagon. Because I was definitely shocked to see Greg go. I literally my mouth dropped. I'm like, Greg wasn't even a thought in no one's mind.
So sad.
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
It's just such a shitty position to be in as well, because by that point, you're out. There's literally no good way you can go.
I think you made the right call, though.
The pre-jury drags are just horrible.
Yeah. Who did you
All
want
you
to
can do is ruin it for someone else.
Greg Sergio.
Oh, yeah.
I think
I was really nervous that Sergio had an LOS, because if he played an LOS, I didn't have one. And he was gonna have to redrag, and that was gonna be me, and I was just really nervous about that. But
Yeah, I think most people's strategy was just throw the vote because they were afraid to be dragged. I ended up voting Mary because I didn't think she'd have any votes, and I thought I thought you probably wouldn't drag me even if I did vote you, but I didn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't have dragged him.
Yes,
no way. No way.
Thank
No.
you.
Yeah, I can't remember. Like, this is the point when I could not, well, most of the game, I couldn't leave my room for some reason. Every time I left, I would get
so
locked
bad.
out. Yeah, I would just get frozen.
Oh,
So I'm like,
wow.
I'm just going to sit here and let people drag me for staying in one room
remember
because at least I'm playing. Yeah, it would just completely freeze up and I would just be permanently backstage. So I was like, all right, well.
The rounds there were just made it so that Lance and I still couldn't go against each other. And it made this amazing dynamic of like Emily and like Zach were still against them. And it was just like Lance was just staying in. It was frustrating the hell out of me.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, and that's why I was so interested because I'm like not an impulsive player. Like, even though someone's going after me, I'm willing to mend fences because it can make something beautiful based with the same people targeting the same people. So like it was interesting that the rounds just kept me and Bryce on the same like wavelength, so it was able for me to earn trust. And I felt like at the beginning, like we wasn't in enough rooms together for him to earn trust with me, and then he was threatened by me as well, so that didn't help it at all. And with that man running and throwing me out, it was just crazy.
Your call quality sucks, but your game did not.
All right, so that brought us to the end for both Greg and Sergio. Greg, talk to me a little bit about your thought process there with the actual drag.
Basically, it didn't really matter to me that I was in the same room as two of them. The only person of the three that I voted that I felt any kind of connection to was Lana. And I just thought, well, by this point, there's no point being bitter. I thought she could do well going forward, so I didn't want to take her. I'd seen Angelica be playing hard, and I'm sorry, Sergio, I just hadn't seen it. I hadn't spoken to you enough in the game, and I just didn't want to be like the bitter dragger, basically. So
I got it. No, it was cool.
Opinions differ as if it's better to be in the same room as the person dragging or not. I'm always of the opinion it's better to be in the room just because this person has to look at you in the eyes to actually get rid of you. And it's a lot harder to do than to boot someone who's in a different room who you don't have to actually look at. But other people disagree. I'm always torn on that, but I think I'd always rather be in the same room.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I was glad to see Sergio go.
Yeah.
Like, I liked you a lot. You just didn't trust me.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, it was the best call that Greg could have made, I think, for his game. Well, I guess like for everyone's game going forward. Because I mean, Angelica and they were big like power players, but at the same time, like I get it,
Greg, you were so robbed. I think you're gonna play so well in your next mini.
Yeah.
You're gonna go deep.
We're seeing a lot of Greg lately. We're seeing a lot of Greg.
Yeah, maybe too much.
No, not too much. Not too much. Greg, what were your thoughts? Are you thinking of playing one against?
I really enjoyed it. I honestly felt like I was in such a good spot in this one. And then the people who I felt like I was playing or trying to play as similarly as made it to 1 and 2. So I feel like that strategy was the right one. I think it just was unfortunate this time. It just didn't work out. But like I said, just being like going out pre-jury twice in a week is rough. Yeah. So I think I'm going to have to take a little while before I come back.
It was an improvement though, right? What did you get?
It was, yes. 5th boot to 12th boot.
Okay. It'd be far worse if you went backwards though. So at least you're going on the right path.
Yeah. And it was so much fun to play with them.
Sergio, what were your thoughts?
Well, it was so much fun, man. Like I've been a big fan of Big Brother and Survivor for like I've seen multiple seasons of Survivor like multiple times just because I'm such a huge fan of games like this. And I discovered Sequester I think about a month ago or a couple 3 weeks ago, and just like fell in love with like the format, the Audrey's creation, and like the fact that like you get to bring people together from all over the place and have them like play together and strategize and do things like that. I didn't play the game that I think I would have honestly going into it. Like I thought of myself as somebody who's like a lot more strategic and cerebral, but then I feel like just the paranoia just like took over and like poisoned my mind. And so hopefully if I'm lucky enough to get to play again, I think that'll be definitely like something to chill out on and try and like keep my focus and keep my cool going forward.
You never know how you react till you get there. Until you're put in this situation, it's completely different watching it and then actually playing it. But You were both a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, guys.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
It was a pleasure, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Likewise. See ya.
Oh my god, I love his accent.
I know.
Questioning my sexuality over here. I'm just kidding.
So this will bring us to round 12, which was History Can't Repeat Itself again, which resulted in a tie between Anthony and Mary and resulted in Mary's elimination. So let's talk a little bit about this round.
We really couldn't do anything about that because once I voted Anthony in the initial vote, I couldn't vote for him again.
Right.
And I think a lot of people were in that vote. So I think it had to be Mary in that tie.
Yeah, I initially voted for you, Angelica. I don't really know why I did that. I think I was just kind of gunning for you.
Wait, how? Because you said you'd already voted for me in the past round.
So I actually misspoke. Last round, I voted for Neil for some reason. I don't know why I voted for Neil. I think it was just me and Mary were in the same room, and I was like, okay, and then I voted for him. Because it was like the drag, and I was like, Neil won't drag me. He likes me. So I was like, okay, yeah. But then this was the first time I voted for you.
Gotcha.
And then
Anthony.
in the thing, I was like, I'm not going to vote for Anthony. I felt really bad because, Mary, I really like you. But I was like, no way I'm turning on Anthony right now. So I had to vote for you.
That was the problem. It was Anthony and I were so together.
No, we were so
like,
close. But at this point, I heard Lance throwing out my name, and I knew that I was a target. So I did actually vote Mary for this round, which forced the tie and kind of saved me. And I know Mary didn't vote me, and I feel bad.
I didn't.
I took advantage of that, but I needed to, because I knew I was a target, so I had to vote Mary this round.
I didn't initially vote for either of you, but because I'd voted for Mary and thrown my vote, Anthony, I had to vote for you in the tie. And I told Emily, I was like, Emily, vote for Mary, vote for Mary, vote for Mary. And then I was like, I voted for Anthony. She's like, what? I was like, I had to.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
I thought you were boned, Anthony.
Audrey is literally like, I vote Anthony. Wait, can I vote Anthony? If I can't, then I vote Mary. Wait, can I vote Mary? Either. Just pick who I vote. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Your vote didn't count on the revote. My vote didn't count. Angelica, your vote didn't count.
Wow.
Oh, so I had a vote against Anthony. Emily voted Mary. There's no way we can track every vote.
No, it's impossible.
It was interesting to get clarification to that rule, though, because I was never quite sure in that round, in a revote, if you could keep your vote the same. That makes it a lot more difficult in the case of a tie. It makes it near impossible. I also want to bring Lana into the conversation for this round.
Yes, Lana!
Hi, guys.
Oh, my goodness, hello.
If y'all hear a lot of background noise, I'm outside because my smoke alarm decides it wants to go crazy today. So it will go off at any minute of the day. So I had to get outside. So anyway, I'm so happy to be with you guys. I had the best time yesterday.
Amazing.
I had, and I'm gonna be honest, I thought y'all felt sorry for me most of the time anyway, because I was like, they like the old broad is here, so we're gonna take her with us.
That was me.
Not at all, Lana. I thought you were the nicest, sweetest, loyal person.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was the best. Because yesterday was, like I said, it was my birthday weekend, I guess, and I went to a hotel and I was in my room so I could be by myself.
So cute.
I was like, this is what I want to do. I've been trying to play this game since the BB US BB Can. That's when I started watching Sequester, and I was like, I love this game. I love this game.
Lana, I think you were the first person whose birthday it actually was when they said it was their birthday.
It was actually
you were actually genuine.
It was actually my birthday, and so I had the best time. And I would play this game over and over and over and over and over again. Especially if I had a cast like you guys, because y'all made it so much fun.
Yeah, you were great.
Super nervous. Super nervous.
I think we all were, but you were great.
And wait, can I just say one thing and then I'll stop talking?
Of course.
I thought everybody was gonna be like, that video of yours was the lamest video ever, because I rushed it. I was outside. I was like, I couldn't get my hair together. I couldn't get the time, and I was like, I gotta do it or I'm not gonna do it. If I don't do it today, I'm not gonna do it. So I was like, let me just do it. And I was like, when I look back, I was like, oh, I look a hot mess. And they're gonna be like, what is she talking about with the blue eye and all that?
I thought it was funny. I thought it was a great video, honestly. It was one of my favorite videos from this cast.
Right.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate it. But go back. Mary, I did have to vote for you that round because I voted for Anthony.
Yeah, I have a choice. I know. That was
And that's
such a bad, I don't know.
And that's basically what I was saying in the background, like that that ultimately saved Anthony, because I feel like if it, a lot of people at that point, my vote, I could have literally voted anybody because most of the people I voted out went home. So I could have voted anybody, but I put it on Anthony and I kind of ran with that name. And I think a lot of people did that. So when the revote came, at that point, I had never voted Mary and I already voted Anthony. So Mary was one of my good allies at that point, so it was nothing I could do. So I think that's what ultimately saved Anthony, is that we couldn't revote the same name in the revote. Because if we could have, I think Anthony would have been.
Yeah, and I think that's why I pushed Mary's name, I think, for that round, because I knew like Mary's name hadn't come up like at all for the entire game. So I mean, I loved working with Mary and I felt so close with her, but I was like, everyone on this game, I do feel like has had somewhat of a target or like has been like the center of a vote. So that's why like I pushed Mary so hard.
That's really smart. Anthony, I feel like you could have highlighted more of your you won.
I was so nervous.
Huge.
I was so nervous at the final two.
Yeah. I mean, you still crushed, but
I voted for Mary the first time, and when they said the tie, I was like, because Mary was the only person I could vote for, because I was putting my votes on a lot of people throughout the game. I was like, because one, I didn't want to get caught voting for the wrong side. So I was like, I don't want to get caught and it's a drag or my vote is exposed like Greg, because Greg, I totally was trying to just throw that vote. I did not see it coming. I thought, and when they said his name, I was like, I am screwed. He is going to take me, because we talked and he said that we were, and I told him, I was like, we're close. I'm not trying to get rid of you. I don't want you to go. And I was like, ain't nobody voting for Greg. Come on, who voted for Greg? None of y'all. And we all did. I was like, what? So that was my biggest regret in this game, was voting for Greg, because I didn't want him to go like that, and not going to the wheel for Katie, because I thought that
Me too.
If we would have went to the wheel for Katie in that final 5, I would have been like, it was 6 or 5.
Final 6. It was
Final
6.
Well, but if we would have went for the wheel with Katie, it was like I possibly could have went, but maybe not. It could have been Emily, or it could have been Bryce, or somebody else could have went. But I was like, why did I? The one time
Katie fucked up so hard at Final 6. I wanted to vote her out anyway, but she's like, I don't trust you. I'm like, sweetie, I'm safe this round. I'm like, what are you doing?
I wasn't gonna vote her, and I told her I would never vote her, and I wasn't going to. But I one time I didn't listen to my gut. I just
I feel the same way. If we went to the wheel for Katie, and Emily went that round, I don't know. I think Katie would have had both of our backs.
Yeah,
and it would have been a very different Final Four.
Yeah,
Bryce, it seemed like in this round, which Mary was eliminated, that you started to push the narrative of an all-female alliance. Now,
yes, very much so.
Didn't have one.
Emily and I were on the. Yeah, but even if you guys didn't, I needed to push that envelope, because like I felt like I was good with the guys. I didn't write down Anthony's name all game. Lance and I had patched things. Emily and I were good, and I could not have, like, I don't know where the women stood exactly, but I know sometimes they're just like, oh, all female final 2 or like whatever. So like I wanted to cut anyone I thought helped Emily. I wanted Emily to be mine.
I was the only girl I was really with was Lana and Angelica a little bit. But I wasn't getting into a lot of rooms, so I wasn't sure if I could trust Angelica, but I was not voting for her. I voted for Bryce that round.
Really quick.
Every round from... Sorry, you can go, Angelica.
I don't think it's true, but I want to just address it because I've had DMs about it. I got a few DMs after the game saying Bryce cheated. Saying that when he went offline, he found out that I knew Katie, and that's when he came back with a vengeance going after the two of us. That's what people said. Now, listening to you describe it, you knew that before you went offline. So I don't believe that, but that is out there.
Yeah, I swear on my life that did not happen.
Gamers, I don't believe. I believe that you are a true gamer, and gamers don't cheat. So.
I appreciate that. Thank you for addressing that.
I just want to address it. Literally, when they told me last night, I don't even know if I was live on Sequester, but I was talking to Brent. I don't know if it was being broadcasted or not.
It was.
At that point, I was, ooh. Guys,
My computer was
there's
off.
still a mug of weed floating in my wine glass. That's how I ended the night.
Oh my God, I love it.
But so they brought up that rumor to me, and I said, I don't want to hear it. I said, not right now. We can talk about it tomorrow. I don't want to hear it right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I would not have done that, and the entire time I knew you were playing great, but when I just did not hear your name, I was like, I need to go for her, and I promise I did not cheat.
I respect that,
So
and I just wanted to address it. That's all. It's not a thing.
Yeah, thank you.
While we're addressing things, I just want to address, because people online were saying that I didn't know how to move rooms because I stayed in room 5 until jury. But that was strategic because that room was empty a lot, and I figured the less that I was seen, my target would kind of.
Yeah, I never saw you. We were in a room together like one time, and you bounced immediately.
Know how to change.
Anil, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on me and like how they changed throughout the game, because I just didn't know exactly where we stood. I thought we were good. Yeah, we can talk about that later. That's like just us, but I was confused.
So that brought us to the end of round 12 with the Mary elimination. Jury, first member of the jury. How did you think going in you were going to do? Were you happy with your game overall?
You know, I had the issue in those later rounds, like that round specifically. I don't even know who I talked to because I couldn't move. Like if I tried to move, I just got locked up and was nowhere. So that part, like those last couple of rounds, I just didn't even feel like, I was even in it anymore. I knew I was going to go because I was like, there's no point. No one's talking to me. Nobody's telling me what name they're hearing. It's done. Can I just say really quick about the jury, because I saw tons of comments and stuff. I could not watch the game.
Me either.
We couldn't. I think Angelica was the only one, and she was filling us in. None of us in the jury could get it up. It just spun, no matter what you did. So people were complaining the jury wasn't watching. We were just talking because we couldn't get it up. So we would just hear from the next person that came in what just happened.
Yeah.
Interesting. That is good to know. I mean, who knows how that might have impacted things.
Right. Because honestly, I said if I would have saw Emily's move in the final 4, I maybe would have voted for her, because what I heard after the fact, it was a totally awesome move that she made. And I was like, I had no idea she did that. I didn't know that because I couldn't see anything.
I voted for her strictly off of jury questioning. And because one of the things, well, I guess we'll get there too, but
we'll get there.
That I thought I did really well in my final 2 jury, and everyone already had their minds made up, and that really was like frustrating to me the first time I played. So I said I couldn't be hypocritical about that. I had to hear her out, and once I heard her out, I voted for her.
Well, overall, Mary, I think you played really, especially considering that like the issues that you had at the beginning with like the technical problems and stuff. The fact that you were able to go past that and make it a while, I think you did really well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks,
Of
guys.
course.
It was great.
It was a pleasure.
Yep. See you later.
Bye-bye. Okay, so that brought us to round 13, which was a new twist. It was kind of a spin on date night from the live Sequester, where everybody got paired 2 per room in 4 different rooms. It was Anthony and Katie, Anil and Angelica, Emily and Lana, and Bryce and Lance. This was an interesting one because it resulted in, probably the most interesting round of the game. It resulted in a tie. Lance uses his LOS. Still tied, goes to a wheel. Initially, Lance is safe. Audrey corrects herself, puts him on the wheel, and then he goes home. Let's talk about how we got there and the craziness that ensued.
So I'll just talk about our room really quick, but essentially I was nervous and we had to figure who would another room vote on and could we like get 2 on them. So we were going back and forth. We really had to decide to betray Lance.
We didn't want to vote Lance to get it, but it was the only thing that made sense to us.
Right.
I was so worried. I knew Emily's room wouldn't vote me, and I knew my room wouldn't vote me, but I thought I was getting 2 votes potentially.
No, I went for Lance because I thought again people were going to target like Lance again. So I just went this whole spiel for Katie. I was like, we really just have to do Lance, and she was like, yeah, that's fine with me. And being with Katie, I think that's when I made like a really strong like final 2 with her, which is why I'm so mad that I just like didn't go to the wheel for her. But I think that kind of helped me in final 7 too.
It worked out for you, buddy.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So how did the rooms vote? It was 2 on Lance, and who?
Lance and I voted Katie. We were discussing between
Lana
Angelica
and I
and Katie.
voted for Angelica.
I was pushing Angelica because I thought that's where Emily's mind would go. Woke. But Lance was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, I mean, I'm fine with either of them going, so like whatever. But...
And at that point,
kind of in my head, I kind of knew that we probably should have done Katie because I thought that was what Bryce was thinking. But then I was like, he also knows that I want Angelica. So I was like, I just didn't know who you were in a room with.
I love that our rounds were focused on each other. So cute.
Yeah, and at that point, I knew my name was like running rampant. So like with date night, I was kind of like weighing the options of like. So I got Angelica, who I've been working with. Maybe she won't put me. But then they got Katie's out there who's been gunning for me. Then it's O'Neal, who's also like kind of sort of gunning for me. Then it's like Anthony, who I threw his name out. So I knew that my name was out there. It's just I wasn't sure if it would like connect with like having to agree. And then I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna trust my gut. We decided our vote. I literally submitted, used my LOS, and went P, and come back, and all of a sudden I hear a successful LOS has been played because literally me and Bryce both went P and literally missed the initial part of the announcement. So I'm like, I put my headphones back on. I'm like, what? A successful. So I was like, let's go, and I just was like happy because I knew I had used it, and then it was a tie. So when they announced that the tie was with Katie and Angelica, I was like, this is my chance. Get Katie out. But Bryce literally was like, what you think about Angelica? And I'm like, frick, like, why didn't I just open my head and take that loyalness out and keep myself to go through another round? But at the same time, I felt the loyalness me being loyal would have got me further, being that I also use the LOS because I guess I just wasn't thinking if it ties again, at least I know I'm safe with those two. But then
his connection.
Lance.
Oh.
The ultimate gag happened, and I went home.
You playing that LOS and staying in the game was a nightmare for me because me and Angelica just like turned our back on you.
And we knew you were going to figure it out. So we were
I was like,
shoot,
fuck.
Shit.
So that was the best thing that could have happened.
On you, if you watch it back, we're both like, oh, thank God, because we knew you'd figure out we voted for you, and that was going to be game over. Like, I knew you'd be pissed, like rightfully so. So I had to break that tie.
I was sad to see you go, Lance, but should have taken out Angelica.
Yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles that time.
Yeah, I was very sad to see you go because we just fixed things, and I was like, Lance and I are gonna run this shit. Like, let's go.
Yeah, and I was ready to.
I was shocked that Lance was even up there. I was like, wait, what? What? How did?
And did you think you would be added to the wheel? Because that's the added dynamic.
Well,
like, you might have thought you were safe.
I thought I was safe too. And that's exactly what it was. I thought I was safe where I'm like, okay, well, even if it goes to another tie, I'm good. So it's going to be someone from the other side that I don't really clack with because all it was left was like, you were my closest ally at that point, Bryce, now. And I protected Angelica, so she's not going to go home because it's going to tie again. So whoever else goes home, it's not really going to hurt me as much because I have my people there. But Bryce, at the same time, we also was trying to figure out who was in what room. We couldn't remember that part because if I would have realized at that point that it was Angelica, then I would have been like, okay, bye.
Oh, I had no idea who was in each.
We didn't know. That's what we didn't realize. So I was trying to remember when she was announcing like this person go to that room, but I never thought like, oh
yeah. Rana and I were like, we need to leave this room immediately because Angelica's gonna come here. She's gonna know who voted.
I knew Bryce had voted for me because right when the next round started.
No, I didn't vote for you.
Yeah, it was me.
I didn't vote for you.
You came into the room with me and Anil to start the next round while we were still muted. And you looked so guilty. I wrote it in my notes. Thank Bryce voted for me.
Oh, you want to talk about guilty? I came into the room and you were like laughing. I was like, you're not fucking laughing because the fucking communicating thing. You guys were you talking about me? I actually haven't gotten confirmation on that. About voting me?
During Echo Chamber, I guess the next round. But no, I was going after Lana at that point.
You didn't vote for me that round?
No, I voted for Lana.
Yeah, she told me she voted for me.
I thought I was fucked. I thought I was leaving. I thought I was done.
I voted for you, Bryce, because I was like, "There's no way." Come on, you scared the heck out of me. There was no way.
I didn't vote for you all game.
I appreciate that, but I was like, he played so good, and you were like just weaving your way in and out of stuff, and I was like, I like Bryce too much, but everybody liked Bryce, and every time somebody would say Bryce, somebody would protect you, like, let's go somewhere else. And I was like, everybody is deflecting from Bryce. Why are people deflecting from Bryce? And so at that point, I was like, I gotta get Bryce out of here. But nobody would stick with it. Emily was, of course, now I see because y'all were together. Emily was like, nah. And when I said it, going around, she was like, Anthony was in there, and I think it was Katie, and I put up Bryce because I was not talking during the Walls Good Talk thing. I put up a sound, I was like, Bryce, and they were like, yeah.
That's why I was never in a room with Emily, because I knew she'd protect me. And Emily, how did you not own the fact? I think I made a lot of moves in the game, but getting out Angelica was you, not me.
I
And you
did
didn't
own it, and
own
nobody listened. It was literally my move. It was
Yeah.
like I went into a room right after Angelica left, and I was like, I did this with my hands. I wrote it down, and I was like, we are doing this. Anthony came into the room. I was like, we are doing this. Like, it was Anil, you, and
Wait,
Anthony.
who did I want to vote again? I'm sorry, I can look at my notes. But
Well, I definitely want to go into that round because I have a bunch to say in that round as well. But first off, to finish off round 13 with Lance's exit, it was interesting because I think this was something that was changed. Well, not changed, but actually fixed in the Kim Mattina mini when she won, in the fact that you do have to still go on the wheel, even if you use an LOS. And I don't think a lot of people know that because it hasn't happened very often. But unfortunately, with Kim, it didn't end up actually mattering because it didn't end up on her. But in this case, it did, unfortunately, because I feel like a lot of us were rooting for you, Lance, because you were an absolute bundle of joy to watch. It was so much fun.
I never voted for Lance. Never voted for Lance.
I love the round where I think, or someone that we wanted to go home went home, and we just like freaked out. I literally were like.
And also, Bryce, I didn't talk about it that round where we was talking about someone, and it literally, I was like, "What y'all think about Bryce?" And
I was in the room.
You was, yeah, and you said,
like,
"What you mean?" I said, so I deflected it to like, "No, I'm actually like, Bryce, what are you thinking?"
Oh no, I knew that was a fuck off. I played it off cool. I knew you were pitching me. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm thinking this. I was like, you fucking idiot.
Thing earlier in the game with Jordan. Katie did the same thing. She threw out his name and didn't realize he was sitting right there.
I was like, how did that come out of my mouth? I'm like, because I looked at my screen and I'm like, Bryce. I said, so what y'all think about Bryce? And Bryce is like, what you think about Bryce? I say, I'm asking, what are you thinking, Bryce?
I was like, can you repeat that?
Bryce said, what are you thinking? But yeah, I had a great time. It was definitely fun. Also, y'all can find me on Instagram as well. I am King Lance, not just Twitter. But I had a great time. It was an amazing cast. It was definitely fun to jump into the Sequester streets. I had a blast. And I love you all.
I'm sure you will be back soon, Lance. All-Star season, baby. Nice
Later
playing
rather
with you.
than sooner. We'll see. Hopefully, if they want me back, I'll be back. But
That's
we'll
fine.
see.
I
love you too,
I
Anthony.
would
Love
bet a lot
everybody.
that you'll
Anil,
be
love
back
all
again.
y'all.
It
Love
was
my
great
cat.
playing with you, man.
Y'all have a great time and love y'all.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us, Lance.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so now the round that we were discussing, the echo chamber round. So I have a question as we get into this. First off, you may have seen my petition on Twitter. Whose thought was it initially to start writing things down? Because in my mind,
I've seen that before.
You have?
I've seen that before, but I knew I wasn't going to say nothing.
I was at least gonna let her. I was not gonna say who I wanted.
In my room, it was Lana. Lana definitely started writing on her little notepad.
Yeah, I mean,
Would you write Lana?
Bryce.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was
Period.
like, that's fine. And the only reason I went for Angelica over Bryce is because I wanted Katie, and Katie was like, me and Angelica are so good with each other. And I was like, what? I was like, why would you tell me that, like, final 7 when we're supposed to have a final 2? I was like, Katie, don't tell me that. So then I went to the other room, and I was like, Angelica's fine with me. Like, I'll just do that.
So can I say something? This is when I realized that Bryce and Emily were really playing the game, because when us 3 were in the room and you guys were like A-N, I thought the whole time was Anthony. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. And it wasn't until somebody wrote out Angelica and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not voting for her. I actually voted for you, Bryce, that round. But that's
I thought I was leaving.
I should have voted Bryce. I wonder if that would have made a difference.
Right.
Because
I thought I was
Angelica,
fucked.
did you only have? Was it just me, Bryce, and Anthony that voted for you?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
Angelica, who did you vote for? Did you
I
and
voted
Katie?
for Lana. I
did you
should
and
have
Katie
voted for Bryce.
Did you and Katie both vote Lana?
What?
Did Katie vote Lana too?
I don't
know.
Because I know you guys ended in a room
Interesting.
together.
She
Yeah,
must have.
If Katie voted for me, I would be.
Because then
Yeah, if I got past this round, I thought I was good, but I
It
had
had
to
to
get past
have
this
been
round.
3-2-2 because it was so like Katie and Angelica voted for Lana, Anil and Lana voted for Bryce.
And then us three voted Angelica.
Wow.
Fucking went for Bryce. God damn it.
Right.
Oh my
And I had
god.
to act the whole time because Bryce and Emily were so excited when Angelica left.
Dude,
And I was
I
like,
literally I thought that we did.
I needed that round. I thought I was gone.
If
I thought I was
Katie didn't
gone.
tell me that Angelica, if Katie didn't tell me that you guys were super tight, I would have voted Bryce. 100%.
That happened to me in my last one. Somebody told me that, so I voted out their ally. I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the one reason why I didn't do Bryce.
But see, in that round, I didn't even get to talk to
I
Angelica.
had your back the whole game, Anthony. Thank you for
I
having
know.
mine.
And I didn't get to talk to Angelica that round because I was like, if I can get to her, I would say Bryce. But the only people I was able to
I
talk
wish
to,
you would have. God damn
I
it.
tried it. I tried. The only people I
Damn
could
it.
talk to was Anthony, and I talked to Katie, and I talked to I didn't even see Anil or Bryce that round. I was like, where's
No,
everybody?
you did. I
Oh, I
hopped
did.
in
Oh,
and
you
then I
did.
left because I was like, they're fucking voting for me. I was like, I need to get a vote.
This was also a very quick round. Like I feel like this round
Oh,
didn't
it
get
was
longer
so
than like
fast.
2
It was like 30
minutes
seconds.
tops.
It felt like 30 seconds because I was like, okay, we go for. Oh, that's it. It was just that fast.
Emily, this is one of the
of
few
quick rounds
times we
this
like
game.
we discussed a vote like 3 times the entire game. Like in the first half, I just hoped we were on the same wavelength, but we literally weren't in the same room until like the final 8 or 9. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Wait, me?
God damn it.
Me and you, Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
when
I wasn't listening.
Angelica came on, she was like, I voted for you, and I was like, whatever. The only reason.
Lana, at that point, I was not. I was really scared to go into the end with just a few people who I didn't think I could beat. So you and Lance and Anil were, and I loved you guys, but you guys were at the top of my list for that, and I was the closest with Anil out of the. Well, you know, I'm Lance, but I had been on date night with Anil, so I solidified that I was going to stick with him, and I thought this is perfect. I'll go to Final Four with Anil and 2 people I think I can beat. We vote out Anil 4, and I'm golden. I win the game. Like that's where I was. That was my strategy.
Yeah. Like I said, only time I voted for Angelica was during the date night thing, and that was because Emily was like, "We got to vote for Angelica." That was the first thing we unmuted.
I think
You have to
didn't
vote
you
for
suggest Anthony? And I was like, no.
I also think if I wouldn't have been wasted at this point of the game, I would have maybe been able to do myself.
I did say Anthony only because I said Anthony scared me because he was too cool, he was too calm.
I appreciate that.
I mean, it's true.
I think Anthony was so cool, and I was like, I don't know where his head is, and like
From the beginning, I was so scared
Looking
of him.
back, I feel like I should have targeted Anthony a little bit earlier
Yeah.
because he didn't have my back
I mean,
like I thought he did.
My name was out in round 2, so I was like, I literally just can't. I
Your
have
name
to-
wasn't. Oh, your name. Your name.
My name was out in round 2, so I had to be so
fight
cool
you.
for like the rest of the first 3 rounds because like if I panic, like my name's gonna be out.
You
Like
were
Sergio was
very
doing,
calm.
like
Very
when Sergio
calm.
was asking everyone about like who voted for him, like that made a target on his back, and that made me uncomfortable, even though I didn't vote for him. But he was like pegging me like I did, so I knew I just had to like stay calm and like let other people sort of just like start screaming. for random
Back when the round that Jill went, I wrote in my notes before jury, Greg, Emily, and Anthony. Those are the people
Period.
that let's get out before jury.
Mhm.
So good on you.
Wait, so were you guys ever room 1 loyal? Like, were you ever going to protect Angelica?
She was a threat. The first like third of the game, 100%. After that, no, I was completely after Angelica.
I
Damn, I was
really
so
liked
naive.
Angelica until I heard that she was kind of.
What do you mean
coming
naive? You just tried to vote me out.
Like the way I saw the game once we got to jury, it was kind of like half and half. People who I trust, people who don't trust me, and I thought that it was like Bryce, Lana, Anil, Anthony, and me were like the people that I trust, and like that's like 5 people that I don't think would vote for me, and it was like Angelica, Lance, Katie, Mary. I wasn't really so sure about Mary, but like everyone else, I was like, yeah, I don't trust them 100%. I don't know it. They would be willing to write my name down, and I don't think these other 5 people were. So like my goal, jury, was like get out anybody that I think would be willing to write my name down.
Right. That's fair. I mean, 4 out of the 5 of us from room 1 made it this far, so that's
Yeah.
That's every single game I've played. That has happened.
Really?
Like it's nuts.
Yes. Rip Mike. That's so sad.
For all those people who say that,
Yeah,
you know,
Louie is
Room
like
Alliance-
one like perfect example, right?
Yeah, you got to stick to your room if you can, at least for, a while. Like, it's so silly to have the strategy of, I'm just going to disband it immediately. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But historically, you see it happen time and time again that full rooms go to the end, right? Like, I'll always say my first game, 3 of the 4 made the final 3.
You're all winners.
Yeah, well, aside from Zach, 3 of the 4 people in that room ended up winning and playing Winners at War, Susie, Jacob, and me. So it absolutely can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess before we let you go, Angelica, and you can feel free to stay here too because we have enough room now. But we gushed over you enough last night, I think. But I'll recap it again. Your game was absolutely incredible. It was head and shoulders above what we saw last time. I think you spent so much time studying the game and learning the game and spending time and preparing for this that it was an absolute joy to actually watch you play and come in and know, every round you knew exactly what to do. You threw out names. You know how to play it. You were telling other people how to play the rounds. And it was just really impressive. And I felt very proud watching you do that.
Thank you. I was waiting for this right before I go time to tell you guys that I almost dropped out yesterday. So I found out I was playing on Friday and I got out off work and I was like, I'm running to the internet store and upgrading my speed for LOSs. So I go to the internet store and pay twice as much for internet now. And I get home and my internet does not fucking work at all. Like, goes completely out. I can't get I can't get tech support help. Like, I had to get someone out to the house, but I was working Saturday all day before the game. So there was no way I was going to get to fix my internet issues. So, and I wasn't going to play at someone else's house where I couldn't smoke. So I was like, I literally, like, I was texting Jacob and Naveed and all them, like, I'm dropping out, guys. Like, I can't. And my boss said, I know how important this is to you. Take the day off. And let me have the day off to fix my internet, which I needed that whole day. Like, I didn't get it fixed till about 3 p.m. And so it's crazy how it all worked out. And I'm sorry for my post game. I literally DM'd 30 people. I read it this morning. It's really embarrassing.
Did you black out? Do you remember talking to me after the game?
Talking to you?
We were on a Zoom call.
Oh yeah. No, I remember everything. You just kind of got to remind me.
Okay.
I talked to Dash for a while.
Yeah, you invited me to come onto the Zoom call. I was like, can Dash come? Because I'm talking to him right now.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. I didn't realize I was live with Brent and Naveed and all them. So that's a mess because, oh my God.
I am so glad you were able to play. You were one of the biggest players this game, obviously.
Right.
Everyone loved you.
Everybody.
I
you played
spilled an
so
entire
well.
glass of wine on my desk round 1. So
I spilled a drink too. Don't worry. I got really messy after the mini.
I had a cooler next to me with ice in it to keep everything cold. It was ridiculous. And I had a bottle of champagne for if I won, I was gonna pop it.
I love the dedication.
Yeah, I had a really good time. This cast was incredible. Just more than I could have ever imagined. I just feel so lucky to have played in it in general. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Yeah, feel free to stick around if you want to talk about the jury portion here.
Okay, can you background me until we get to the final two? And then
and so let's get into round 15, which was majority rules. This resulted after the game with Anthony and Bryce being safe, and after a tie resulted in Katie's elimination. So let's talk a little bit about that one.
I think this was my best round by far. I needed to keep Anthony and Anil both in because they were at each other's throats, and Katie didn't really trust me that much. And I thought Anil winning freaking immunity at Final 5 screwed us, because in that Final 4, I don't think any of you were dragging me. I think I just had the finals locked. Maybe I'm delusional
exactly what I thought.
Honestly, can I be real? I was going to drag you, Bryce.
Really?
I was not dragging Anil.
I wasn't voting you out though, Lana. I was voting out Emily. I was voting out Emily. I wanted to go to the finals with you, Lana.
Oh, because you thought I was weak.
Don't give me that look, Emily. You fucked me.
You thought I was weak and clueless too.
I was so mad when you were like we're just cutting Neil off, and I let myself be manipulated right there.
Yeah.
But I wish me and Lana just kept and just went to the wheel.
Yeah, that was the one time I didn't stick to my gut because every other time my vote was like, do what you said you're gonna do the first time and that's it. Just do it.
I think my main thing, I was like, once it tied, I was like begging. I was like,
Right.
Anthony, please don't let it go to a wheel because it's going to be in between me and Lana.
And I think the only thing that made me switch is because I really trusted Emily, and I just that was.
And I knew that. I was like,
It
please
was
just
a
don't do
mistake.
that. Like, please.
I mean, it wasn't exactly a mistake because I won, but
I'm playing. I love the flex though. Emily, who did you trust more, me or Anthony?
Probably you, because Anthony, I don't know. Like,
Good answer.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Anthony just had a lot more connections that I didn't know about.
Yeah, I think that helped me in the jury too. Like being
Yeah.
really close with Mary, and her being like the first juror can vouch for some of the things that I've done.
But yeah, I could not believe that Katie was like, "Oh, Bryce, so like you voted me earlier, right? Like you're
She
after
wasn't
me." I'm like,
thinking,
I'm sitting here safe. I'm pretty sure I have Emily's vote just like locked with me. Like, oh, it's crazy. I was protecting Anil, so Anil's gonna vote with me. I was like, "You're fucked."
Oh my gosh, Anil, whenever you said that to Anthony,
I can't believe you said. I was like, what?
I was like, this isn't good because I don't want to. I didn't want you to go, and I was like, I don't want to like say any. Like, I was trying to be like quiet so that you guys could fight,
Right.
but.
My thought process at this point, I was like, hey, I'm here, so I have to like actually try to make moves on my resume. In my brain, I thought getting rid of Anthony this round was the best idea, except for he was safe and I wasn't paying attention. And then I just feel like that's when I was fucked, and I knew I had to just gun for Anthony because I already exposed the fact that I was gunning for him. And that really hurt me, I think, because me and Anthony surviving that tethered twist, I think really we had something from that.
Yeah, and like at first I tried to like downplay like us like wanting to protect each other because I didn't want to be associated because you were already a target. But I think it actually worked out really well for us.
Yeah,
I honestly thought that anybody, if either one of y'all would have took me with you to the final two, you would have beat me because I didn't have a resume. I didn't do the big, huge, mega moves that everybody wanted to see. My game was very low key, very under the radar, very because I didn't want to be that loud person that everybody like, okay, she's obnoxious. Let's get her out of here. And I was like, I don't want to be the villain. I don't want to be the villain. That was my thing, and I didn't want to do.
You were the biggest hero of this season. Lana, why did you vote for me for most clueless? I was a little surprised by that. I got 2 votes.
I was surprised. I got 1, but I was like,
I voted for you because I didn't know who else to vote for.
Emily, how the hell did you not vote for Lana again when we've already pegged
know,
her?
I was like, what?
I was like, this is obvious. Like, not obvious in the sense it's you, but obvious because of what had just happened.
I don't know. I mean, I also was not going to get voted out that round, and I knew that I wasn't.
No, you're
don't give me
right.
that
You're
look.
right.
I mean,
You're
I
right.
wasn't. Like, I don't know.
And when you know what, you want to be so funny. I was going to put my own name down when they asked who's clueless. I was going to say me because I knew that's what y'all were going to say. I was like, they going to say me. They going to say me, but I didn't. I was like, don't underestimate yourself because what if they didn't say me? Then I look like the dummy. Like
that's
you said
fair.
yourself. So I was like, I want to say it, but I don't want to say it because I think it's me, but I don't think it's me.
Because I didn't think it was you. You were the one person I was not like super connected to in that, and like I really didn't want to make anyone angry.
I didn't think anybody was clueless.
No, I don't either. Not at all.
I don't think there was.
I just thought people were voting you. And Neil, I think going off
the most clueless.
I think going off what you said about like making a move, like I lost my game last time I got second to Sharifa because at final 6 she was aggressive, she made the plan, and I knew like if I kept Anthony and I could just vote you out next round. Little did I know you'd win immunity, but like I think that was my big move that would have set me up for the win.
Right. I mean, I was actually shocked too that Katie wasn't putting up as big of a fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she kind of just gave up.
Yeah, she was like, "It is what it is." Like, I was like, "Scream at me!" Like, come at me.
I wish she did.
But this was my ideal final 5. Like, I was like, okay, these are the 4 people I feel like I'm closest with in the game, and I don't think like I don't know, like I wanted.
We
Katie
need to talk
on.
about final 5 because I did not evict Lana.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So let's get there. So after the Katie elimination, it brought us to the final 5. where there was a trivia competition until 2 people were safe. Anil and Bryce were safe, and it resulted in Lana being eliminated. So let's talk about that one.
I wanted to keep my mouth shut because if the person I wanted to leave didn't leave, so I didn't want to vote Lana. Because Anil winning immunity, I needed to vote out Anthony. So I voted Anthony this round, but I couldn't say it because if Emily didn't want Anthony out at Final 4, he might have dragged me because he'd be like, fuck you, dude. Like, we worked together all game and you're after me. So I thought my perception was that I'd have a better chance against Lana than I would against you guys. I don't know if that was true or not. It seems like you were very likable on the jury. But so that's why I decided to keep Lana there. And Emily, I would love to hear your thought process. And Anil, who did you vote for?
I voted for Lana.
I voted for Lana.
Why would you vote for Lana?
Okay, so I just didn't have a good read on Anthony because we did kind of distance ourselves from the brother twist. And in my mind, I thought Anthony, no offense, was like a moron. Like he was just like floating through, bumping through. Not little did I know that he was like very well aligned. He had a pulse on what was happening. Like I was like in my head, if I'm at the end with Anthony, at least I have a shot, because I just thought you were just so calm, cool, and collected that I literally thought there was nothing going on upstairs.
Oh my God, I did not think that at all.
No, I didn't think that either. I thought he was too cool and he was calculated. That was my thing. I was like, he's too calm.
Yeah, because I switched my votes for so many plans and just it happened. Like the Lance, the Jordan, the Mike and Lance tie.
Yeah.
Because I think that
I think my main reasoning for voting for Lana this round was just because I didn't want to turn on Anthony, and I wanted to make sure that if I was in the finale, I was in it with Anthony because I thought that was who I had the best shot of beating, and I knew that if Lana was gonna drag Anil, then it was gonna be me and Bryce, and I would lose. I would lose like 7-0. Like
I don't know about that.
I mean, I don't know. Like the jury says that they weren't better. Like literally every single person says that they weren't better. But I was thinking in my head, Anthony's not going to drag me.
I wouldn't. Nope.
Yeah, I don't think that Anil would have dragged me. And then Bryce, you're not going to drag me. Like Lana, I wasn't sure. And I don't know. I wanted to make sure that I set myself up to not have to be worried and not have to say a name during that.
If one of Bryce or Neil didn't win immunity, I would have pushed for the other one.
Anthony, Final 4, if I pitched to vote Emily, do you do it? My issue was I thought Emily might drag you if you did that, and I didn't want to set against Anil. It would have been an iconic Final 2, but I was most worried about beating Anil out of the 4, and that's why I took you out, Anil. But we'll talk about that round in a second.
Wait, so I have a question. Are me and Lana the only first timers in the Final 5?
I'm the first timer.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, that makes sense.
You guys are all Sequester virgins.
I actually, when I the farther I got, I was like, this cannot be right. There's no
Lana, if Bryce didn't win immunity that round, would you have voted Bryce with me?
Oh yeah, totally.
What about Anil or Emily?
I was
would
gone.
You guys vote?
My thing, if I would have,
I'm so mad.
If I would have,
I also definitely would have voted Anil.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying me. I was like, Emily, I'm not cool.
if Anil didn't get immunity that time, I would have definitely. And
but if both me and Anil didn't have immunity, Anil's the bigger threat than me, though. No,
I probably would have said Anil over.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
only because like I said, my only reason was he played and.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were playing a good game, Anil, and people were after you from the beginning and from the start. But I think also the fact that you played Big Brother Canada, just the fact you can do that and still make the end in Sequester, I think says something. So even if I played more of a flashy game than you, I think you 100% had a story and could have beat anyone.
I knew I wasn't beating any of you all. None of them.
I think Anil, your social connections were crazy. I don't even know why. I just felt round 2. I was like, no way, I'm voting Anil. I mean, maybe it was because you were attached to Anthony, but I also was like, no way. And I felt connected with both of you. That. You just had. I don't know.
I just thought Anil, you were so clutch. Every time you needed to just pop out an LOS or just switch a vote, you did it. So I mean, you in my mind at that point, I didn't realize all the stuff that Bryce was doing. But Anil, you were that biggest threat. And that's why I pushed so hard at Final 6 for you to go, and it just didn't work out.
Sorry,
From
bud.
my point
I
of
had to
view,
protect him.
I literally did not get one vote right. Like, I was shocked
Really?
every round. I was like, this person, like, I was like, what is happening? So that's like how I just felt like I was like a buffoon, just because like I literally didn't know what was happening. And it was very apparent the round before with the questions where everybody voted Lana. I was like, I do not have a pulse on this game.
I just thought everybody felt sorry for me, so I was just like, "This is the only reason I'm being
No,
dragged."
not at all, Lana. Everybody loved you.
Yeah,
And,
Lana,
and
I
you,
think
you
you're
protected me earlier.
Lana, you were great. No, I was just the person I was least connected to, and I just didn't want to get voted out.
And Bryce, I did. I felt the connection with you at the beginning of this game. I was like, I like Bryce. I'm not voting out Bryce. And I told Emily, she was like, we were in some room and they said Bryce, and I was like, nah, not Bryce.
No, yeah. I think
It was Sergio. It was Sergio.
Sergio said Bryce, and we walked and went into a different room, and we were like, I'm not voting out Bryce. She was like, nope, me either.
No.
There's no way we're voting out Bryce. So yeah, I was loyal to everybody who I said I was going to be loyal to.
Until you weren't. No,
until I had to. Katie, I think Katie was the first person I had to say, I'm not voting for you, but I'm not. But she did that when she was just like, whatever, it is what it is. And I was like, what do you want me to do now? Because everybody's voting for you now, and my one vote is not going to stop 3 people's votes. And I didn't know if Anthony was going to stick to it or not. I was like, just get a sign and say, I'm going to stick to that. I'm like, me too. It's going to be a tie. And
I know. I wish we just did that, but it is what it is.
I was surprised, Lana, that you said you didn't think you would have a chance at the end, because I think there were a decent amount of people, just because you are so likable, that would have given you votes.
Mary loved you
short a little bit. I think you could have given a run for it.
Yeah,
I agree.
That like, see, after the game was over and I got on Twitter and back to my phone, my sisters were going off because this was the first time they watched any of this. None of them knew anything about this, and they were sending me text messages thinking I could see them. And my oldest is like, "Why aren't you answering me? Reagan's coming after you, and so coming after you."
They're trying to cheat on Dad.
So my phone was off, so of course I saw none of this. And so when I got on Twitter, everybody was like, "You're so likable." I was like, "Is that a bad thing to be likable?" But then I was like, "It's not bad, but it is bad because then you get to the final 5 and everybody say, I don't want to go against you because you're likable." So it's like, I don't know how to. I needed to figure out how to navigate that final 6, 5, 4, 6 and 5 because apparently I didn't do it correctly because then I'm here.
No, I think it boiled down to who had immunity, Lana. I think had we not had immunity, you could have easily made Final 4 and even potentially Final 2. I think it was just luck of the draw, and I think you played a really good game.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would highly doubt we don't see you again. I think there's a lot of people out there who want to see you play again, whether it's in a regular mini or it ends up being one of the special minis. So I'm sure we'll see you soon.
I'm playing again. I don't know when.
Yes.
Because I don't want people to say I can't strategize. Like, I don't want to be the low key chick the whole time. Like, I don't want to coast every time. So I want to actually show that I can be strategic and play this game. So.
For sure.
Absolutely. We're excited to see it. Feel free to stick around if you want. I'll move you backstage. If you want to come on and talk about the jury, you absolutely can.
Cool.
So let's talk now about the Final 4. And I imagine there'll be a lot to talk about here. I won't even give it an intro. Final 4, go.
First, I can't believe I stopped that drag. Oh my goodness.
And Neil, is there anything I could have done to have you not drag me? What did I do wrong?
I think it was something that I said,
comment.
honestly.
I think the audience comment was awesome.
I agree. I agree. I 100% agree. But did that comment sway you, or did his talking sway you?
I think it was Emily, but it wasn't really what
Okay,
she
that makes me feel
said.
better. It's her.
It was the fact that she originally voted for Anthony to tie it.
I thought that was so
showed
smart.
loyalty. So I was like, okay.
She
And
flipped
then-
on you. I thought you'd be mad. And she's the one who said she wanted to vote for you. I made her say it. I
But
made her
had
say,
to flip.
I want to
I
kneel
had
out.
to flip so that like it didn't go to the wheel, and I think Anil understood that. You know.
You voted for him first.
She initially voted to save me. And then really icing on the cake was her really, because at that point I was like, I wanted her to win. And then she was pushing, for me to
I
drag
think
you.
I
And
don't remember exactly what I said, but I said something like, Anil, if you like want to see me win, like please like drag Bryce or something.
So from my perspective, Anthony pitched you, and then Emily flipped on you. So I was like, he's not dragging me. I didn't do anything. Like, yeah, I voted you,
Right.
but like, I didn't pitch you. She said to vote you. So it's interesting your comment, I guess, your jury comment, because you said you wanted Emily to win, which I'm not upset by. But then your question was, what did you do that made you better than Bryce? So did you think Emily played a better game than me, or did you just like her more?
I think the games were equivalent. It was more so for Anthony, just because I didn't know that Anthony was so connected to you, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't know you two were really like ride or die. So from my perspective, it looked like Bryce kind of like was dragging Anthony to the end. I really didn't know Anthony, all the background that you were actually doing.
Yeah, it was a lot of quiet things.
Right. I didn't want this Final Four to happen. I wanted you out, Neil, because I didn't want you
Final
there.
six. You could have
Right.
Final Six.
I mean, and at this point,
That's what I wanted.
I do not regret doing what I did, Anthony, because Katie would have been after me. You guys would have voted me out.
Yeah,
I had to do that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I know going to the Final Four though, I wasn't gonna drag Bryce because I just would feel so bad. But I knew I had to say I had to drag Bryce because I know he was so scared of being dragged, and I knew that if I said I was gonna drag him 100%, that he wouldn't vote for me, and at least I would tie a vote.
And Neil also said he wasn't gonna. I mean, I don't like. I'm not mad that you flipped your mind, but like you're like, oh, I'm dragging Anthony. I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm chilling. Like
right.
So even you saying that, Anthony, if you'd said I'm dragging you, Bryce, don't you fucking dare. I actually think I drag Anthony because I think there's more of a chance you drag me than he does. So that could have potentially saved you, Neil.
Wait, if I told you that I was going to drag you?
Yeah, if you said absolutely, Bryce, I will drag you, you piece of shit. If you take me out of this game, I would have voted Anthony.
And this is where I also underestimated the connection Anthony had with Bryce and Emily, like both of you, because I still was like room one strong. You know what I mean? And I think that you guys were obviously more loyal to Anthony than you were to me. So I was fighting an uphill battle that it all like came crushing down when.
To be frankly honest, at Final Four, I didn't give a fuck about loyalty. I wasn't gonna drag Emily because I love her, but I would have voted her out. I just thought I couldn't beat you potentially, Anil, so that's why I took you out. It wasn't about likability. Like at Final Four, there's no friends. Like
I couldn't believe I went to Final Four with 3 people who started in the same room. I was like, I've had Sergio only the whole game, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even realize these people like were so close the whole game. I knew
like, you three were my closest allies, and Lana. Like the final 5 was my closest allies, and like I don't know.
I mean, it was cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I set myself up well for this Final Four. Like I didn't have to do shit.
Chelsea's, third place sucks. Chelsea and I robbed. Period.
And
need to give her a shout out.
I just felt like, and I don't know what the jury was thinking, but I thought, Bryce, if you were at the end, it was going to be like an easy win for you, if that makes sense.
I thought I was going to win too.
Yeah.
Neil.
Right. It was really Anthony was like the dark horse of the competition in the sense that I had no idea really how hard he was playing. That's what probably.
Yeah, I think I had a strong connection with like some of the early jurors, like with Katie and Mary. I knew I definitely had their votes, and I knew when I would talk about the Lance thing, I think that would gain a lot of respect with Lance. So I knew within the jury I had a couple votes lined up, and all I had to do was just get there and just be able to talk about some of the things I did. And even though I was like super nervous about it, it was such a quiet game that I think I had to try and articulate some of the things I did, and I just didn't do it amazingly. But it worked out. So.
I think you played amazing, Anthony, and I didn't vote for Emily just because like I'm closer to her or anything. I think taking me out and screwing me, I just respected. I think you were a very deserving winner. Sorry you didn't get my vote, but
no worries. No.
Wait, so would any of you guys have taken me to the final two?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Sorry if I like.
Yeah.
At that point, every round, I just felt like I was like drowning and just needed to come up for air. Like I was like holding onto my breath every round. I was shocked to have made it to the final 4. And at that point, I was just trying to I thought for sure if I made it to the end, I don't know. I still think I would have came in second up against all 3 of you.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Bryce, but like me and Anthony, I think you could have beat.
At Final Four, I think I was leaning towards
Angelica said wrong. Interesting.
Oh, Anil, you win.
I agree. I agree.
I was thinking about voting Anil at Final Four if he were to make the end, even with Bryce, only because I don't know. I just think the things Neil overcame was just a lot. more.
And that's why I took you out, Anil. I thought you were a great player. I loved working with you, but dude, like, I don't think you realized how much of like
just those LOS plays were so clutch. And like,
yeah.
Oh my goodness, and it was just amazing.
I mean, I thought that maybe the only thing that could have turned it around at the end was the fact that I was able to like really push for Katie, and then getting that immunity. I was like, whoa, we like might actually have a shot here. But it seemed like at the final four, I was fucked either way.
Yeah. All I have to say is sleep with one eye open for a few months, but we're good. It's all good. It was a great time playing with you, and I know it wasn't personal. So
right, it really wasn't, and yeah, I was actually very happy to have you guys in this game too. Like Anthony, right from the jump. Emily, you really just half the time I didn't even understand the twist, so you were like really helping me walk. And then Bryce, like our moments that we checked in, I mean, I felt good.
For sure, appreciate it.
So that brought us to the final two of Emily and Anthony. I'm going to let the rest of the jury back in, but how were you two feeling going in? Did you feel confident that you had a good chance of winning? Did you think you have no shot? What were you both thinking about?
Well, I was ecstatic. I was so happy to be with Emily. I think she was the person that I wanted to enter with. I think even hitting jury, like I still really just want to go with Emily. And like she may not have been like my closest ally, but I think it was someone that I don't know. It just I was so excited. I was so happy.
Yeah, I thought I had a good chance of winning. And Anthony was who I wanted to go with for sure. Like, wait, I lost my train.
Did you guys know each other before?
Yeah.
You guys are in the series. You guys are serious friends.
Yeah,
I did not know that, and that would have very much changed.
I knew that you knew 3 people playing, and I was trying to figure it out during it, and I should have realized it because you're all about the same age.
We like played orgs together.
I didn't know Anthony.
Yeah, we played org together.
I didn't know any of you. Like, I didn't realize how close Emily and Bryce were for a very, very, very.
Nobody did. We didn't talk the whole game.
And I was like, I didn't get it. And it wasn't until I think jury that I was like, wow, they are as close. It was that final 5 that I was like, okay, yeah, I see this now. And it was too late because there was nothing for me to do. And I was like, because I came in this game so blind. I didn't knew nobody. I didn't talk to anybody. And so I didn't know anybody, and I didn't realize how connected some people were. So I was like, that's.
And I know like a couple people like knew each other, like Katie and Angelica knew each other, and I think the thing that me and Emily.
I know Katie's cousin. I don't.
You know of each other.
I just knew she was playing. Yeah.
But I think her saying that she liked you so much, I think was a mistake, and I
think my game was
do that.
You've ever watched.
Oh yeah.
And I was loyal to her cousin to the end of my game. So
wait, so Angelica, did you know I'd played, or did you just know me from Twitter?
I knew you played.
I knew you'd played too. Sharifa kicked my ass.
Yeah, that's what I knew. What was I just?
Hey, did we start the votes, by the way? Is it 4-3?
Yeah, the final vote count is 4-3. It's not 5-2.
The final vote count is 4-3. I don't know. Audrey was in the chat earlier. I don't know if she's still around. I think there's another mini starting, but I voted for Emily and it's not counted. And I sent Emily my Skype screenshot. Here's the thing: I was sending Audrey long ass paragraphs about how much I loved her during this.
Yeah.
Real drunk, but getting real sentimental. So. And then I voted in between all of this other shit I was saying. So I probably just missed it.
Yeah, because I asked.
That's fair.
Like in my little thingy, I said, hey, who are the people who voted for me? Thank you for a great game. And they just responded like an hour ago and said Bryce and Anil. And I was like, what? But Angelica 100% voted for me. She was talking about it. She told me like, so, and then like, so I think
I will say in the jury chat, I said never Emily.
Yeah.
So that's what, I mean, at the end of the day, it didn't affect the result, but
but
it's good to know.
It is 4-3, I believe.
Yeah, in the
Room 1.
In the jury, when I first got to jury, I ain't gonna lie, I was salty at you, Emily. I was like, I am salty, because I was for real loyal. I was like seriously ready to track this to the end. And I was like, since I didn't have connections. To get a connection, I was like, yes, finally somebody wants to ride with me because I didn't know anybody. So I was like,
yeah. And I just kind of wanted you to know that like I was loyal to you. I just can't
And I
take
got
somebody
it.
to the end with me who I
Can't be
couldn't.
loyal to everyone.
And that was the thing. And I got it.
I mean, I was loyal to everyone until like all. Really,
I'm just giving you shit. I'm giving you
all the
shit.
people I was closest with. It was
I
like
know.
I had to make a decision.
Yeah, it was fine because like I said, when I first got in the room, I was a little salty. But then when we had time to chill out because I couldn't watch your Final Four move, and I think that's really what took me away from voting for you because I couldn't see your Final Four move, and everybody was like, that was so amazing what Emily did. Everybody said Emily did such a great. I was like, what did she do? I don't know what she did, and it wasn't really explained during the jury questions what you did. So I was like, so what am I supposed to do? All I can go on is by the questions that was being asked.
I do think I talked about it. I'm not really sure if I highlighted it enough.
I don't
but,
think, not to me anyway. I don't know if it's to anybody else, but like I didn't.
Yeah, no, you didn't. Yeah, you should have been like, I took out Bryce, who was winning. Like, period.
Yeah, I mean, because like I didn't know that's what happened. I thought that you voted for Anil and Anil just dragged Bryce. I didn't know you turned on Bryce and said, take out Bryce. Because if I would have known that, I'd be like, girl, you got my vote. Because that's who I was voting for.
Would have won the game.
I was going for Bryce the whole time, and except at the end, not at the beginning. At the end, I was going for Bryce. So if you would have said I told Anil to take out Bryce, I would have been like, oh, there you go.
You did talk about it in my jury question.
I tried to highlight it too when I said, Emily, I was like, you screwed me over. In what planet do I vote for you? And you still thought I was going to vote for you, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna vote for me. Like, I don't know. I felt like I highlighted it well in Bryce's jury question, like, and Angelica's jury question.
By that time, I might have already voted.
It was so funny. I went back and read the chat. They're like, Bryce is so bitter, and Brent's like, he's really not.
Hey, how do you see
everybody
that? Is it still up or is it gone?
Yeah, so you can go back. I have a link, and then my suggestion is putting it on like 2x speed or something, and then just like clicking through to parts you think people are talking about you,
Cool.
and then
I
you
just
can
wanna
read the chat.
I want to see just like.
So
what
definitely the beginning and then the end. I would
I
definitely
think
look
for
at.
me, because I know I didn't play, like, I think one of the beneficial things for my game was just like one line to Mary about not voting for her and like sending my allies to the jury, but like not having them be as salty or bitter as I guess maybe some of the people I was working with Emily. And I think that like helps me, I guess, in the end.
That was definitely like my biggest mistake. I think that I needed, like, I don't know how I could have done it better, but I mean, the people that I sent to the jury were bitter at me, but also like, that's not, I don't know. That's my fault. Like, if I wanted, like, I think that Anthony is a very deserving winner because like like the jury is the person who decides who wins. So like,
I think if you win, you deserve it. Period.
yeah, if you win,
Period.
you deserve it. It's like the people on the jury, like,
undeserving winners because they fucking won. So they deserve. Like, I feel about.
Thank you guys.
And I was trying. I didn't want to be bitter, and I said actually the questions were being asked, and I listened. I was like, I don't want to be bitter because Emily played a great game, and she outplayed me because I trusted her. And if I didn't trust her, I probably would have been able to, figure out some more moves to go. But she outplayed me, and that's what I said. Because Twitter was going off, they was yelling at us like, y'all not watching it, y'all didn't see this, and y'all bitching in the jury room, and y'all not. And I was like, I wasn't. I was just saying I was salty at the beginning. The questions came, and I had to listen. But the fact that I didn't feel like I heard or was highlighted of what y'all, what the Final Four actually was, I didn't feel like I got the best shot to know exactly all the plays we made. But
that's fair.
Yeah, I think that was the one thing watching it from the outside is when we got to the final two and you made that move, Emily, and kind of, said that Bryce needed to go, we all thought you were going to win. The only thing, like, if you played it up more in the final two questioning, and
I don't even think I realized whenever I did it how good of a move it was.
Oh, it was totally great.
I don't even
Wow,
think
you
I
don't realize how iconic I am, Emily. That's pretty upsetting. Babe, you slit my throat.
Yeah, I know.
But really, what honestly helped was not even you convincing me, was you like going to a tie for me, like at the Final Four.
Oh,
you know what I
good.
mean? 'Cause you could have told me to do whatever, because I was like, at least you like is taking a gamble.
I just figured if I honestly thought that Bryce was voting for Anthony that round. I thought that, like,
Why? I said let's vote out Anil at 5. Why would I not vote him out at 4? What do you mean?
No. Well, okay. Well, I don't know.
I was also, like,
I don't know where my head's
Anil
at.
would have dragged Bryce, and I was like screaming that I would. So I was like, I know Bryce is gonna vote Anil now.
I thought it was obvious. And I was just like, Emily, why did you do it? It worked out perfectly for you because I think. Wait, Anil, who do you
Well,
drag
not
if Emily?
perfectly, 'cause I
If
didn't
Emily,
win.
okay, if Emily originally votes for you, who do you drag?
I think it would have still been Anthony.
No, you dragged me. You didn't drag Anthony.
Wait, no. Wait, what are you asking?
If us 3 voted for you and there was no tie,
Right.
who do you drag?
Anthony.
Fuck you, Emily. You got lucky.
Yeah, it was really that because she, if anything, showed loyalty right up to the end.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
that helped
That's good
it.
to know.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's so funny how one little move could have changed the whole trajectory of the game. It's like
That's how I feel now, knowing now that if I would have voted Bryce the round I went out, he probably would have went out. Like,
And then like, if Anil didn't find that first LOS, like me and Anil would not make
Literally, this whole game would have been completely
You would have gone
different.
home round 2.
We both were like, oh my god, that
There's
was
so
so
much
bad.
chance.
It's so crazy. That's why I love
But it was all amazing players.
Mhm.
Yeah. Dude, we
It
killed
was.
it. This cast was
Yeah, I
phenomenal.
loved all
I
of
am
y'all.
so
We're
like
awesome.
I am so proud to be a part of this
Me too.
mini.
I
Like,
seriously
dude,
love everyone but Anil. Like, it was an amazing cast.
For my first time, I was so nervous, but literally this crew just made it so like fun and actually like, I don't know, you felt like you could get in there and actually like make moves and stuff. It was
So many
really
people
good.
willing to play.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
I really want to follow all of y'all on Twitter. I did follow everybody on Twitter after.
Let's
I want
go.
because I just love y'all that much.
I
The
want to ask,
legend
was
Anil
there,
followed me back.
I followed you back.
was there
Let's
like
go.
much I could say at the jury? I know that like Angelica, I convinced you, but like anyone else, was there anything I could have done? Like,
For me, because I can only speak for me.
Mhm.
If you would have, I think the way it was when you kind of was like, Lana, look, I'm voting for you. It was like, it is what it is. And I was like, no, kind of like, I feel bad about it. It was just like, it is what it is. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, because it didn't feel good to go out like that.
yeah.
And you know, feelings get involved, and sometimes, and I had to take a minute, and it was like, okay,
Mhm. I mean, like all jury decisions like involve some type of like feelings. Like I totally understand.
it was like it was just getting the boot that way, like not saying, you know what, Lana, I think you did a good game, you either did all right. It was just like, look, I just got to vote for you because it is what it is. And I was like,
Yeah.
I think I think I had 3 votes either way because of like how closely I worked with Mary and how closely I worked with Katie, and then
Mary
the
was
thing that I
definitely-
did was eventually what got Lance taken out because he was just a target. So I think I had those 3 votes pretty.
Lance didn't like me.
I would have voted for you.
Maybe my vote for Brock the Bamboo counted, and that's why she didn't count my vote for Emily.
Maybe.
He's very happy. He's very, very happy.
I definitely was going to vote for you. That was my thing. But the question,
I was planning on it, Anthony. I just
because at first I was like I said, I thought Anthony was too cool, calm, and collected, and I didn't know he was. I was like, he's too calculated for me, and I don't know where he stands.
I think it's so funny that Anil thought he was dumb. And he
Right.
thought he was like, it's just so funny how everyone's perception
Right.
is so different.
That's crazy because like y'all said, y'all thought my game was good, and I was like, I am playing the worst game ever. So what you think of what you're doing is totally different from what everybody else
Perception
doing.
is reality.
And it's insane. But like I said, Emily, I would have voted for you if it would have been more of a, you know what, Lana, this is what it is. I have to vote for you because I don't want to sit with you in the end. And instead of it being, you know what, I just have to do it because it is what it is. I was like, but the questions was
I
what
did
got.
say like I didn't want to sit with you in the end, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what let me calm down. After I got in the room for a second and I vented because I did. I was like, Emily, just play. That's what everybody was talking about because I was like, I just don't. I'm upset.
You felt betrayed by Emily.
I know.
Imagine the freak out I had.
I could imagine. I can't imagine. But then, like I said, when the questions were happening, I just felt that Anthony explained his game a little bit better to me than you did. Because, like, I did not know the Bryce move. If I would have known the Bryce move, how that was,
Yeah.
I would have totally voted for you.
Oh, that's so
Even if Bryce
frustrating.
said, because Bryce said you screwed me, but I'm like, how did she screw you? I don't know what she did. I didn't know you told Anil to take Bryce with him.
I should have elaborated
If
for
I
your
would've-
sake, Emily.
If I would have known that, I would have been like, oh, savage, got him, and I would have
tried-
voted for you.
In roasting you, Emily, I tried to gas you up.
I want to apologize to Anthony and the jury. I didn't mean to come across so harsh when I asked him to, like, whatever I asked him, and he was taking credit for going after Lance, and I went, yeah, but he went out on the wheel, so that doesn't count.
I laughed so hard.
I thought it was funny. I was like,
ooh. That was so funny because once you left, Anthony and Emily were both like, whoa.
Sorry, I was really drunk at that point. I drank almost an entire box of wine. Entire
gosh.
box.
Yeah, I didn't sleep for 3 hours after the game because I just drank the whole box.
I went to sleep at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Me too.
I drank almost the whole.
This is what's left in a bag that was full. Like,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bag wine is the best.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
we had a great time though. I love this cast so much, and if I
Me
could do
too.
y'all again, I would do it.
Your next cast, even if you win, will not be as fun as this. I
Oh,
can promise you
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's not going to be because this was amazing.
It really was. As somebody who obviously watches every one of them, this is definitely going in the top tier. It was really entertaining from beginning to end, and like I said before, everybody came to play, which is the most important thing. Everybody was ready to play the game. So I guess we'll close this out. I know we have a private mini in about, I don't know, like 12 minutes. Yeah, I don't know does anybody know? Chat, does anybody know what it's about? I have no clue.
I think no, I don't. I can't informally say.
No idea. But yeah, let's go around everybody and show the Twitters. Everybody needs their follows. Please
Gotta make
follow
sure I'm
Lana.
following you.
I literally have had Twitter for like 6 years, and then like I had like little like 400 followers, and then I gained like 80 in a night. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's the Sequester bump. It happens.
Yeah,
I
I felt like a star. I was like, I'm famous now.
That's what my sister wrote. She put up. She said, "My sister's a star." I was like, "No."
Oh my gosh.
It definitely happens to everyone. Like when I started this, I had about, I think, like 20 followers, and it grows every week, so that's nice. Bryce, your Twitter?
Bryce.
Instagram, Bryce P. Williams.
Yeah. What can we find on there? What are we?
On my Twitter or Instagram?
Yeah, the Twitter.
It's not too interesting. It's very Sequester related.
All right, Anthony.
Yep, there it is. That's also my Instagram. If you guys want to follow, same thing.
Oh, yeah, let me do all this now.
Wait, Bryce, what's your Instagram?
Bryce B. Williams.
Bryce P.
B, as in middle name.
What's your middle name?
I'm not exposing. That's why I said as in middle name. I'll tell you. I'll tell you after this call.
Neil on Twitter.
And it's the same for Insta. Anthony, how many Y's are in your Insta?
2 Y's.
Emily.
2 Y's, 2 G's.
It's also my Instagram.
And Instagram.
Shout out to Sequester Royalty. Hashtag justice for Sarah Yell. Hashtag Sarah G. Thank you very much. Or not hashtag, shout out.
Sarah G was getting so many shout outs last night. I just know it. She had to be getting like at least 20.
Always. That's a requirement in all of Sequester. There's always at least one shout out.
But I have to shout out to Tia because
She was the one who harassed me to apply, and I was like,
Shout out to
okay.
Johnny. Love you,
Johnny.
Yeah, Timothea and Cammy. That's the one.
So I guess, Anthony, before we wrap up, we'll give you the final word as the winner. Wrap up. Put a bow on it. How was the night overall?
It was more than I could imagine. I think, just an amazing cast and just the whole journey, I think, of getting there and just the whole game was just so fun and intense, and it was just amazing. I'm super excited for Winners at War 2. I know I got a lot to prove, and I know I'm going to turn on the gas, and I want to make this cast proud so badly, and because you guys have just made me so proud to be part of you guys. So, I mean, I guess that's it. Like, you guys Oh, you guys are just such an amazing cast, and I'm so grateful to be part of this mini.
I feel like I've been upset with a lot of winners during quarantine, but I was very happy with this one. You played amazing, Anthony. I loved meeting all of you. Thank you for your time, Louie. Very much appreciate you in this podcast. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you all for coming on. I'm going to move everyone backstage. Feel free. You don't have to stick around, but I'm going to do some tasks up here. But thank you all for coming on.
Bye.
Bye, guys. I'm going to head out.
All right, and that is that. We'll run through everything now. First, I want to give a few thank yous. Thank you, as always, to our moderators. Thank you for keeping the chat in line. Will from America, thank you for providing us with our music. So many bangers from Will from America coming lately when you talk about emo night and prom night and all of that. Please, as always, go to Sequester Access and become a patron. I think we're close to 1,000 now. I'm not sure the exact number, but I think we're getting there. We're going to get there soon. I imagine the Survivor Mini, which is next Saturday and very exciting, is going to push us over the edge. So 100% go donate. You could be as little as $3 a month, and you could play the game and be on this podcast. Also, obviously, give Sequester Access and Audrey a follow. Our plan is we're going to have a pretty action-packed week. We'll have content basically Monday through Friday. So please feel free. TR will release the schedule at some point today, I believe. And of course, feel free to follow me if you like. Rank and rate for both Louie and Lou. What we're actually going to be doing tomorrow is something interesting. So we're going to have a little Q&A. We're going to get some advice answered. If you all need any questions answered, you need some love life advice, you need some life advice, send it on over to us. And we're going to ask the mom and dad of Sequester what they think. Who they are will be revealed at a later date. That is it. I'm going to go try to figure out what this private mini is all about, but we'll catch you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern as always. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will talk to you soon.